In the apocalyptic ice age, I stockpile tens of billions worth of supplies. Greetings, fellow multiversal adventurers. It's an honor to have you back in this saga that has us all hooked. Official channel statement: this story is 100% epic fiction. So please don't attempt real magic, the results aren't guaranteed and insurance won't cover it. The rights to this masterpiece belong entirely to its brilliant original author. We are just a barge sharing it with you. Do you want to keep being part of this amazing community? Join our ninja army of subscribers on YouTube and give this content a like. And for true fans, our Patreon has exclusive ninjutsu waiting for you. Chapter 126. Chen Lingaiyu continued, let me help you manage the community with a scientific management method. If this model is good, it can even be expanded to other places. Now is the end of the world, and all the systems of the world are in chaos. Even if we build a kingdom, it will not be a problem. You will be the king, and I will assist you. What do you think? Zhang Yi just smiled. Anyway, he also graduated from Xianhe University of Technology, with 5 years of social experience. It's not enough to be fooled by a woman engaged in pyramid schemes. Not interested in. Zhang Yi dropped these 3 words coldly, not intending to continue discussing this topic. But Chen Lingaiyu anxiously wanted to continue persuading her, but Zhang Yi waved at her. Don't say any more, I'm really unfamiliar, and I don't want to hear that from you. Zhang Yi's firm eyes made Chen Lingaiyu's face darken, and she took 2 steps back as if she lost her strength. Presumably after the fight last night, this woman was also scared. Rather than looking for Zhang Yi's cooperation, it is better to say that he came to seek Zhang Yi's protection. But who is she? She is not pretty, and she is a bit older, with no residual value at all. Zhang Yi has no reason to protect her. Chen Lingaiyu said desolately, if this goes on like this, maybe one day we will die too. Zhang Yi glanced at her and said emphatically, you remove the word we. You will die, but I, Zhang Yi, will not. Chen Lingaiyu shook her head helplessly. Zhang Yi looked at this woman who was barely considered a strong woman, and asked curiously, you are a woman, and it is difficult to survive alone in the last days. Why, you don't have a husband? Chen Lingaiyu shook her head with a wry smile, it's been a long time ago. Oh, lonely. Chen Lingaiyu shook her head and said, no, I also have a daughter. She has been studying in the country of rice since she was 10 years old, studying in aristocratic schools. When talking about her daughter, Chen Lingaiyu's eyes lit up obviously. I don't need to rely on men in my life. After the divorce, I took care of my children. From the beginning, I washed dishes for others and worked as an apprentice in a beauty shop. Step by step, I have become the president of a quasi-listed company. I'm no worse than any man. Zhang Yi, if you don't cooperate with me for this reason, it must be your loss. Chen Lingaiyu is still trying to make the last effort. Zhang Yi touched his nose, and said slowly, generally speaking, only the top leaders of a group enterprise can be called the president. The boss of a small company like you can only be called the general manager. A look of embarrassment suddenly appeared on Chen Lingaiyu's face. That's not what you said. No one stipulates that the president can only be the boss of the group. Zhang Yi was speechless. It seems that Chen Lingaiyu's educational level does not exceed junior high school. The group only talks about shareholders, and the president is just a post setting. If you don't even understand this basic business position, how can you pretend to be an entrepreneur? That's okay, you can continue to work. Zhang Yi bypassed Chen Lingaiyu, not wanting to continue to argue with this MLM woman. But when he looked away, he saw a scene that surprised him. 18, which is the harmonious home managed by Li Jian, presents a completely different scene from other unit buildings. Wrapped in a thick black down jacket, Li Jian is taking the lead in shoveling snow. He is short and inconspicuous from a distance, but for some reason, Zhang Yi always feels that there is a tenacity in this person. In front of the 18 door, everyone is working in an orderly manner. After everyone has worked for 10 minutes, they will rest, and then a new person will come to relay. Zhang Yi's heart was greatly touched. Such a scene was beyond his imagination in the last days. Zhang Yi couldn't help but walk over, stood not far from Li Jian and watched them work quietly. Soon, Li Jian noticed Zhang Yi. He raised his head, the dark shadows around his eyes were very obvious, and his whole body lost weight. Zhang Yi? Why are you here? Zhang Yi didn't answer his question, but just glanced at the person at 18. Although their faces were disheveled, there was a gleam of light in their eyes. Unlike the people in other units, they are completely numb and alive like Walking Dead. Zhang Yi was a little relieved, but also curiously asked Li Jian, "How did you do it?" Li Jian asked, "How did you do it?" Zhang Yi said, "Because of the distribution of food, other unit buildings have already fought fiercely. But looking at your unit building, this situation has not happened. I'm curious, did you use any method to conceal the news?" A look of pride appeared on Li Jian's face. Although he is not tall, he still tried to hold his chest up, and said to Zhang Yi, "I didn't hide any news at all. From the very beginning, I told everyone in our building the result of the negotiation." This result was beyond Zhang Yi's expectation. He was very surprised. Li Jian dared to do this. Isn't he afraid of the internal turmoil in the unit building? Then, it's impossible for all of you to survive even though there's only food for 10 people. But why didn't they rebel? Li Jian seemed to have guessed that Zhang Yi would have such a problem. He said very calmly, "Everyone in our building does not want to become a beast. So if there are 10 meals, we will share them equally. If there is one meal, we will also share them." Zhang Yi sneered, folded his arms and jokingly said, "But in the end, all of you may die. No one can survive. You thought you were smart, but in fact you made the stupidest choice." Li Jian fell silent for a moment, not knowing how to answer Zhang Yi's question for a long time. Because he also understands that what Zhang Yi said is correct. Human nature and animal nature, obviously the latter is more suitable to survive in the harsh environment. Zhang Yi shook his head, not intending to continue to dwell on the problem here. The reason why he came here was also purely out of curiosity, but he has no interest in the life and death of these people. Seeing that Zhang Yi was about to leave, Li Jian quickly shouted, "Zhang Yi, wait a minute. Can you help us?" "Sorry, there is no such possibility." Zhang Yi's answer was very straightforward, without any room for negotiation. He looked down at the short middle-aged man in front of him, and said indifferently, "With your ability, you can definitely win over a group of people who are most likely to survive, divide up the benefits, and then ensure that you can live well in the last days. But you look forward and backward and want everything. However, you don't have the ability to protect everyone. Doing so is tantamount to a crime. You choose the road yourself, so you can walk on your own." Chapter 127. Zhang Yi ignored Li Jian's request, turned around and left to go back. People like Li Jian are typical idealists. However, to realize the ideal, what is needed is strength, not just shouting slogans. Go back to 25, just passing by Wen Qiang and Wang Xianfang. The two held cigarette butts in their hands, wishing they could suck all the cigarette holders in. As soon as they saw Zhang Yi, the two immediately walked over with fawning faces. "Brother Zhang, are you not going out today? Or did you say you finished gathering the food yesterday?" Wang Qiang walked over with a smile and a look of enthusiasm. Those who didn't know thought he was Zhang Yi's cousin. "Go out later," Zhang Yi said with a smile. Wang Xianfang also came over, and said with a smile, "Zhang Yi is the person who has contributed the most in our community. Unlike these wastes," he pointed to those residents who were sweeping snow, "I can't do any job well." The whole god knew what he wanted to eat with his mouth open. HMPH. Zhang Yi said with a smile, "They don't know how to work, you just teach them." Wang Qiang looked at the honest residents who had been tamed by him, and curled his lips in disdain. "They all have 2 arms and 2 legs, what's wrong with them? They'll be honest after a beating." As he said that, he smiled at Zhang Yi again and said, "Brother Zhang, this Jinwan is not used to smoking, it's too strong. Can you change it to Yuxi next time?" Wang Xianfang said, "Return to Yuxi? Why don't you want Zhonghe? Some smoking is good, don't add burden to Zhang Yi." But Zhang Yi said with a smile, "This is not a big problem. I will help you find more later. If there are any, I will bring them to you. It shouldn't be difficult. Besides, at this time, although cigarettes are precious, there is no saying that they are valuable or not. It's okay if you want me to find Yuxi and Zhonghe, but if you insist on asking me to find Dujiang and Hong Sanhoen for you, I still can't find them." The 3 of them laughed loudly, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. "By the way, I'll show you later. If there's any good wine, I'll bring you a bottle or 2. It's cold, drink some wine to warm up." As soon as Zhang Yi said these words, Wang Xianfang and Wang Qiang were very excited. Wang Xianfang likes to drink the most, and Wang Qiang's alcohol capacity is also good. It's one thing to love to drink, but the key is in this weather, liquor can help them keep warm. It's a serious thing. Brother Zhang, you are so righteous. In the past, I used my villainous heart to judge a gentleman's belly. If you need help from a brother in the future, just say hello. Wang Qiang gave Zhang Yi a thumbs up, and he was really touched in his heart. Wang Xianfang glanced at him, not lagging behind. Zhang Yi, you are our great benefactor. There is no repayment for saving a life. I, Lao Wang, can only say that from now on, my 140 caddies will be entrusted to you. With a warm smile on Zhang Yi's face, he reached out and patted their arms. Look at what you're saying. We'll be best partners from now on. Everyone is trying to survive better in the apocalypse, and only cooperation can achieve a win-win situation. If you need anything, just ask me. If you can satisfy it, I will certainly satisfy it. After finishing speaking, Zhang Yi stretched out his hand and pointed outside. Then I'll go out first. Wang Qiang and Wang Xianfang hurriedly said, You are busy, you are busy. Zhang Yi smiled and nodded. Then went to pick up the car and left Yulu community. Wang Xianfang and Wang Qiang watched Zhang Yi's back. Their eyes became a little complicated. The two glanced at each other, and they didn't deal with it very well, so they turned their heads and left. On the way back, Wang Qiang lowered his head and pondered, why did Zhang Yi become so good all of a sudden? He asked for cigarettes, and offered to bring me wine. Could it be that I misunderstood him before? He frowned and thought about it carefully. In the past, he and Zhang Yi had no contact, let alone conflicts. After the apocalypse, he was the one who coveted Zhang Yi's snowmobile, making it impossible for others to steal it, and then sent someone to lie in ambush in the snow. Later, Zhang Yi launched a counterattack against their mad wolf gang. Wang Qiang slapped his forehead. Hey. Speaking of which, it's not that he was unjust, but I did something wrong first. This Zhang Yi can do it, and he can deal with it. A cruel smile gradually appeared on the corner of his mouth. I just like honest people. On the other side, Wang Xianfang was also thinking about the change in Zhang Yi's attitude. Why did he suddenly show favor to me? Reasonably, with his strength, he shouldn't be afraid of me. If you put it that way, he probably really wants peace and doesn't want to continue the fight. After all, he is alone, and the people under him are not of the same mind as him. If you continue to fight, maybe he will die one day. So he is afraid. After thinking about it for a while, Wang Xianfang thought he understood Zhang Yi's attitude change. He couldn't help showing a somewhat smug smile on his face. This is good news. After Zhang Yi came out, he went to the library again. The book Norwegian Forest is very interesting. The lingering sadness in Haruki Murakami's works can be described as a representative of the mourning culture after the Sakura War. Zhang Yi read the whole book slowly, closed it gently, and stuffed it back on the shelf. It's not that he is hypocritical, but he rarely reads on a whim, and he may not have such thoughts in the future. There is no need to move the library back and put it in a different space to eat ashes. Zhang Yi belongs to the kind of person who wants to buy any book when he goes to the bookstore, but loses interest once he brings it home. He raised his wrist and turned the Rolex watch out of the sleeve. It was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. As usual, he should collect some food and bring it back to the community. Zhang Yi murmured in a low voice, I don't know when those guys will be recruited. I must slowly lower their vigilance, and then find a suitable opportunity to attack. Zhang Yi left the library, went to the supermarket to collect a corresponding amount of supplies, and then rode a snowmobile back to the community. Among the people who came to collect supplies today, there were a few more building leaders. Both Wang Qiang and Wang Xianfang were in the crowd, looking expectantly at the snakeskin pocket at Zhang Yi's feet. The goal of the two is naturally the cigarettes and liquor that Zhang Yi promised to bring back to them. The reason why I have to come here to get it myself is to swallow it alone. Otherwise, these rare and good things can easily cause conflicts between them and their subordinates. Both Wang Qiang and Wang Xianfang had a deep understanding. When they got the cigarettes yesterday, their younger brothers couldn't hold back. And when he saw them coming to pick up the food in person, Zhang Yi's mouth raised a subtle smile. Okay, everyone line up in order, and come here one by one to get the food. When the building manager of building number 1 came over, he suddenly said to Zhang Yi in a low voice, Zhang Yi, can you bring cigarettes for Wang Qiang and Wang Yan, and can you also bring some for us? Chapter 128. It's no secret that Wang Xianfang and Wang Qiang smoked. After all, these two people are not masters who know how to hide things. When they are working, they smoke outside like no one else. After thinking about it for a while, The big guy guessed that Zhang Yi provided it for them. As a result, some building managers who were addicted to cigarettes made requests one after another, hoping that Zhang Yi would also bring them cigarettes. After Zhang Yi hesitated for a moment, he smiled and said, "I'm afraid it will be a little difficult to provide so many people." The other building chiefs immediately panicked. "Zhang Yi, you can't favor one person over another. Our requirements are not high, 1 pack a day, just 1 pack. This is the request of my life." Zhang Yi sighed helplessly. "Okay, I will try my best to provide you with cigarettes. How about it? Starting tomorrow, I will provide you with cigarettes if you building managers need them." Seeing this, the non-smokers couldn't help but stepped forward and made their own demands. "I don't smoke, I just like to eat a bite of betel nut. Can this requirement be satisfied? I want to drink some wine, the cheapest loose wine will do." Zhang Yi said helplessly, Okay, I've written down everything you said. I won't favor one person over another, everyone has a share." Everyone smiled contentedly, and then left with their supplies. After they left, Li Chengbin, Zhang Lei and others were indignant. "Brother Zhang, are you being too kind to them? Giving them food is already a great kindness, but now they are pushing their feet, and they want this and that." But Zhang Yi said lightly, "Their demands are not too much, I can't treat one more favorably than another. It's okay, let's do it like this." Everyone looked at Zhang Yi as if they were strangers. No one could have imagined that Zhang Yi, who was ruthless in the past, would become so cowardly at this time. But Zhang Yi had to find things by himself, so it was difficult for them to say anything. Zhang Yi finished distributing supplies to everyone and returned home. He took a hot shower, then lay comfortably on the sofa in his pajamas, looking at the ceiling above his head. It's almost time. An internal conflict has already caused heavy losses to other unit buildings. More than 400 people died directly, and hundreds of people were injured during the battle. It is basically impossible for these people to survive. Even if they survived by luck, there will be no threat in a short time. Zhang Yi took a walk around the community in the morning, and in the process, he observed the number of people still active in the community. Probably around 700 people. Moreover, he used cigarettes and liquor as bait, and successfully lured the building managers of each unit building out. In other words, the time to close the net has come. Zhang Yi didn't intend to procrastinate any longer. Because in a short period of time, there will be no major conflicts in each unit building, so delaying time is meaningless. And because of the food he provides, those people will also be supplemented with physical strength after a while. They will pose a greater threat to Zhang Yi. Just tomorrow. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, and the killing intent flashed between his eyes. The next day, Zhang Yi went out as usual and left the community. About his plan today, he didn't tell anyone, including Uncle Yu. Because this action is very important, if you miss it, it will increase the difficulty and risk of the action later. So Zhang Yi can't trust anyone. After leaving the community, he went straight to the supermarket. I found a lot of food from various shelves, most of which were loose steamed buns, and bagged bread tied with drawstrings. Today, Zhang Yi especially found food with better quality than the previous few days, and the quantity was also increased. I can be kind enough to them if I can eat a hearty last meal. Zhang Yi said so. After piles of things piled up, Zhang Yi took out the rat poison he had obtained earlier from the different space. A colorless, odorless powder that only needs a little to kill. It just so happens that these foods are somewhat spoiled, and the color is not normal, so it can't be seen at all after sprinkled with medicinal powder. Zhang Yi took out the gas mask he found in the military camp and put it on, then carefully sprinkled the rat poison on the food. It took him half an hour to complete this process by himself. Wang Qiang and Wang Xianfeng may not be at ease with food, they will let people test poison. But they are such greedy people, they are definitely reluctant to share cigarettes and liquor with others. Old smokers and old alcoholics will lose their usual caution in front of these things. I'll just put medicine on it. Zhang Yi took a few packs of cigarettes, and after thinking about it, he opened the outer plastic wrap. When he gave Wang Qiang and others before, the cigarettes were unpacked, of course, to prepare for today. In order to dispel their suspicion. After all, it is good to be able to get cigarettes now, and it is not surprising that there are some problems with the packaging. Then, little by little, he carefully stuffed the rat poison into the tobacco of the cigarette. As for liquor, the method is a little more complicated. Zhang Yi first mixed the rat poison into alcohol, and then injected it through the cork with a syringe. How should I put it? Rough is a bit rough, but after he went back, it was almost night, and the sky was dark. It's hard for drunkards to notice such a small flaw. After working for 2 hours, Zhang Yi began to pack the food in bags and put them on the sledge behind the snowmobile. The snow outside today is not so heavy, but the wind is still sharp. Zhang Yi leaned against the wall of the shopping mall, finally lit a cigarette for himself, and took a small sip. Because you suck too much, you can easily frostbite your lungs by the cold air. Maybe today is the end. I always feel that this process is surprisingly smooth. Zhang Yi muttered to himself. Everything that people in other units have done so far has fully met Zhang Yi's expectations. But it was this kind of cooperation that gave Zhang Yi an unreal feeling. I always feel that everything is going too smoothly, but other people are not fools, so how could it be possible for me to play around? Zhang Yi smiled self-deprecatingly, and narrowed his eyes at the same time. This false harmony is only temporary, and those guys are not stupid. They will still attack me sooner or later, and the reason why they choose to hold back is because they are waiting for some opportunity. 25 has an inner ghost. I haven't found out who it is. Is he alive or has he died a while ago? Zhang Yi asked himself these questions, but he didn't get an answer. He is not Sherlock Holmes, nor Detective Conan, and he does not have such strong detective skills. However, he has something better in this apocalypse. He has a fortress and a gun. Zhang Yi threw the cigarette he had smoked twice to the ground, and crushed it with his toes. No matter what plans you have, in the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies are meaningless. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129. Go first, fight back. After preparing everything, Zhang Yi took the special food and rode a motorcycle back to Yulu Community. After arriving at Yulu Community, Zhang Yi first called Uncle Yu, Zhang Lei, Li Chengbin and others over by phone, and asked them to maintain order at the scene. Soon, they came to the center of the courtyard of the community with iron rods, shovels, and kitchen knives. Zhang Yi, here we come. Zhang Yi glanced at Uncle Yu and the others, and nodded. Well, wait here. I'll call them down to get things. Zhang Yi picked up his mobile phone and informed their people to come over in the group of building managers. Uncle Yu stood beside him with an iron rod, like a loyal guard. Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei led people to stand on both sides of Zhang Yi, a little behind, and guard Zhang Yi in the center. Zhang Yi glanced at them from the corner of his eye. Today Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei seemed to be more focused than usual. Out of the habit of self-protection, Zhang Yi took a few steps back and put himself behind the crowd. After a while, representatives of each unit building arrived at the scene one after another. After seeing the group of people, a smile flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. His plan worked. Using rare items such as tobacco and alcohol, he successfully lured the building leaders of each unit building out. Except for Li Jian at 18, this kid seems to be adhering to his principle of fairness, and he doesn't want to come to pick things up in person. Zhang Yi didn't care, as long as most of the building managers came over. The tobacco and alcohol they retrieved were stuffed with large doses of rat poison. Once inside, 10 to 30 minutes can take their life. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, "Okay, everyone, come and get things." Starting from building 1, Zhang Yi threw the supplies on the ground 2 or 3 meters away, and asked the representative of the building to come and pick them up. Representatives came over one by one and took away what belonged to them. Building 21. Zhang Yi shouted, looking at Wang Qiang. Wang Qiang walked over with his head down, and Zhang Yi bent down to pick up a bag of food from the ground. Just as he was about to get up, a loud shout suddenly sounded in his ear, "Do it." Wang Qiang took out a pistol from his pocket, pointed it at Zhang Yi and pulled the trigger. Zhang Yi's pupils shrank sharply, subconsciously wanting to dodge. At this moment, Uncle Yu, who was in front of him, pushed him away violently. Boom, boom, boom. 3 gunshots rang right next to Zhang Yi's ears. The sudden attack made him feel that the gap between the 3 shots had become extremely long. Uncle Yu's body slowly softened, his knees bent and he fell to the ground. Ear-piercing buzzing sounded in Zhang Yi's ears. He raised his head, and as far as his eyes could see, he saw a group of men with hideous faces rushing towards him. Wang Qiang was holding a pistol, Wang Xianfeng was pulling out a kitchen knife from his arms. There are also Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei, who are less than 2 meters away in front of him. Among the more than 30 people present, at least half of them rushed towards Zhang Yi. The weapons in their hands exuded a cold luster. For this moment, they also waited for a long time. Zhang Yi wanted to paralyze them, and then find an opportunity to eradicate them all. But they had had enough of Zhang Yi and wanted to kill him. Just because Zhang Yi is the strongest existence in the entire community. If he is alive, others may be killed at any time. Moreover, someone had told them that Zhang Yi's house was a perfect shelter with a comfortable environment and sufficient food. No matter what the purpose is, they can't allow such awesome people to exist in Yulu community. At this moment, with so many of them together, even Zhang Lei and Li Chengbin besides Zhang Yi were bribed by them. They thought that Zhang Yi was already destined to die. Even if he had a gun in his hand, how many people could his pistol kill at such a short distance? At this time, Zhang Yi saw Uncle Yu and the ferocious enemies who were slowly falling to the ground in his eyes. His gaze gradually became terrifying. He didn't tell anyone about today's plan, including Uncle Yu. And Uncle Yu didn't even know that Zhang Yi had a bulletproof vest and bulletproof pants on his body. Originally, even if the 3 shots hit Zhang Yi's body, nothing would happen. But out of gratitude to Zhang Yi, Uncle Yu blocked 3 bullets for Zhang Yi without hesitation. This made Zhang Yi feel guilty for the first time after the end of the world. What followed was monstrous anger. Zhang Lei was the closest to Zhang Yi. He roared angrily, pointed the shovel in his hand at Zhang Yi's head and smashed it. Zhang Yi quickly rolled a few times on the ground and hid behind the snowmobile. He adjusted his posture and got up from the ground. A black submachine gun appeared in his hand so abruptly. A loaded assault rifle. The expressions on the faces of the people who were still charging towards Zhang Yi changed from ferocious to astonished, and finally turned into fear. Tut, chug, chug. In the face of a life and death crisis, Zhang Yi directly pulled the trigger tightly, firmly pressed the handle of the gun with one hand and started shooting. Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei, who were closest to him, had more than a dozen blood holes in their bodies in the blink of an eye. Zhang Yi couldn't care about anything at this time, and when he saw someone standing, he swept the bullet over. Behind Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei, there were about a dozen members of the patrol team. They looked astonished when Wang Qiang shot, as if they didn't know what happened. They also never followed Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei to attack Zhang Yi. But when the bullets swept across their bodies, there was no difference. There are too many enemies in front of him, and Zhang Yi doesn't have the time to discern who is the one who wants to kill him. He can only acquiesce. These people must die. Rather kill the wrong one than let it go. This is Zhang Yi's first rule of survival in the last days. The people in front of him fell down in a row, and the arrogant leader of the wolf gang, Wang Qiang, was beaten into a sieve before he even had time to get close to Zhang Yi. Before he died, there was still an expression of disbelief in his eyes. He couldn't figure it out. Where did Zhang Yi take out that assault rifle? If it wasn't for the assault rifle, they must have one. The pistol gave him the courage of his ego. But just as Zhang Yi didn't know that he had a pistol hidden in his hand, he also didn't know that Zhang Yi had a body armor and an assault rifle. The difference is that although Zhang Yi didn't know he had a gun, he was ready to deal with it. So Wang Qiang had no chance of winning from the very beginning. He has a rifle. How can he have a rifle? Run. Wang Xianfeng was so frightened that his legs went numb. He dropped the kitchen knife in his hand and ran away. The other building leaders also screamed in fright, turned their heads and fled back. At this moment, they only hated their parents for losing 2 legs. Zhang Yi's eyes were already red. He saw the snow under Uncle Yu's body stained red with blood, and he remained motionless. Maybe the person is dead. No matter how cruel Zhang Yi is, he is not a cold-blooded animal. It is inevitable that I will be touched in my heart. Uncle Yu, thank you for helping me block the bullet. I will avenge you and kill them all. Zhang Yi said in a cold voice. Since the end of the world, this is the first time he has faced so many opponents, but the result of the battle was a one-sided massacre. As Zhang Yi said before, in the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies are meaningless. Chapter 130. A clip of bullets was quickly finished, and Zhang Yi had no time to reload, so he threw the submachine gun to the ground. Then he drew 2 police pistols from his waist with both hands. Those people couldn't run fast in the snow, and Zhang Yi shot them one by one, and all of them were headshot to death. In less than 20 seconds, almost all the people on the scene died. There were still a few people standing trembling in the snow, raising their hands, with expressions of horror and pleading. Zhang Yi, we are not their accomplices, it's none of our business. I swear this matter has nothing to do with us. Don't kill me. Zhang Yi remembered these building leaders. Just now when Wang Qiang and others started to attack, they did not act. So there is a high probability that what happened this time has nothing to do with them. Therefore, Zhang Yi pulled the trigger in his hand. Bang! 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 A hole was opened in the heads of several building leaders in an instant, and then they fell on the snow. Zhang Yi aimed his gun at the last person alive, Chen Lingyu, the building leader of number 9. At this time, Chen Lingyu was so frightened that feces and urine flowed, and she burst into tears and snot. Zhang Yi, this matter really has nothing to do with me. I beg you to believe me. I also have a 13-year-old daughter who is abroad. I want to live and wait for her to come back. Zhang Yi looked at her coldly, and after 2 seconds of silence, a gunshot took her life away. The white snow was now stained red by large swaths of blood. Only Zhang Yi stood alone, surrounded by more than 40 dead bodies. Even in the last days, it was the first time for Zhang Yi to kill so many people at once. He knew that most of these people were not necessarily involved in his murder. For example, Chen Lingyu, for example, other members of the patrol team. But Zhang Yi had no choice. He would not allow anyone suspected of his murder to live. If the tiger returns to the mountain today, it will definitely become a potential danger in the future. Still, the dead are the safest. You will all die sooner or later. Living is so hard, why don't you let me send you to heaven? Zhang Yi held a gun in his hand and exhaled a puff of white smoke. From this perspective, I helped you get rid of the pain, and you should thank me. If these dead neighbors knew about it, they would probably say the same thing. I really appreciate it. After killing all the enemies, Zhang Yi glanced around. Such violent gunshots have long attracted all the neighbors. They lay on the window looking at the cruel battlefield, their eyes were full of awe for Zhang Yi. There are also some people who are relieved and grateful for everything Zhang Yi has done. Zhang Yi looked at 26 and 21, which were the territories of Xiangang and Dire Wolfgang. Wang Qiang and Wang Xianfang couldn't escape, they were the first to attack Zhang Yi. Originally, their subordinates were already at the door, waiting for the boss to make a move, and they came to snatch the supplies. But when Zhang Yi took out a black M4 carbine, they were afraid. Zhang Yi's gaze made them even more afraid. The second leader of the Dire Wolf Gang, Xiao Lu, was cold all over, and retreated back with a trembling voice, back quickly. Don't lure this devil here. A group of terrified little Karami fled into the corridor in panic. Zhang Yi ignored them, but went straight to Uncle Yu. Not far away. The corpses of Li Changbin and Zhang Lei were lying there, with blood still oozing from more than a dozen holes on their bodies. These two people used to be loyal horsemen under Zhang Yi's subordinates and helped him charge many times. But now I don't know why I betrayed him. However, Zhang Yi didn't care. He considered it normal for anyone to betray him, even Uncle Yu and Zhou Gear. But after today, Uncle Yu's status in Zhang Yi's heart will become even higher. At the very least, it was worth him to deliver something important. Uncle Yu, are you still alive? Zhang Yi squatted halfway, looking around in case someone came and attacked him, and felt Uncle Yu's pulse. No pulse. Zhang Yi was startled. But soon, he remembered that he was still wearing cut-resistant gloves. It would be a ghost if he could feel his pulse. Zhang Yi had no choice but to turn his body over. On Uncle Yu's body, 3 blood-stained red marks were clearly visible. The bullet missed the heart, and Zhang Yi didn't know if he could be saved. But no matter what, Zhang Yi must give it a try. At least after trying it, even if Uncle Yu died, the guilt in his heart would be greatly reduced. He took out a tube of adrenaline from a different space, and stabbed it hard into Uncle Yu's chest. Then, he yelled towards 25, "Come and help." At the door of 25, a group of neighbors stood there in fear. They were all frightened by Zhang Yi's murderous performance just now, and they dare not approach him until now. Zhang Yi's cold gaze swept over all of them before waking them up. A group of people were afraid of Zhang Yi and rushed over to help. Pick them up and send them to my house. Be gentle with me. If you touch or fall, I'll use you as paper dolls and burn them to Uncle Yu. When Zhang Yi said this, how dare those neighbors not be careful? He was more careful when lifting Uncle Yu than hugging his own father. And Zhang Yi held guns in both hands and followed them closely. When they came to the 7th floor, everyone suddenly heard a burst of crying. Brother Yu, what's the matter with you, brother Yu? You must not be in trouble. If something happens to you, how will our mother live? I saw Zilimi hugging her child, and the crying Lihara ran downstairs in the rain. Zhang Yi noticed that when Zilimi was crying, Uncle Yu's eyelids seemed to be a little loose. Zhang Yi couldn't help sighing in his heart. Old Yu, you may not be too kind, but having said that, if you weren't so kind and righteous, maybe I would have killed you first. Anyone who cannot be used by him and has extraordinary skills will become a huge threat. Zhang Yi must kill him. But now, Zhang Yi owes Uncle Yu a huge favor, so it's not easy to get angry at Zilimi. The neighbors knew about Zilimi's relationship with Uncle Yu, so they made way for her. Zilimi came to Uncle Yu with the child in her arms, and deliberately stood in a position close to Zhang Yi, and then burst into tears. Honey. Open your eyes and look at me. I'm Limi, you promised to marry me in the future. And the baby, you said you wanted to watch her grow up with your own eyes. Then the end of the world will pass, and the three of us will be able to live together properly. Husband, there's a 5-second long tone here. How can your words not count? Same as above. If you leave, how will our wives survive in the future? You might as well take our wives away. What do you think you're capable of? Helping others block guns shows your loyalty, but can you stand up to orphans and widows? Zhang Yi got goosebumps when he heard it. Zilimi didn't mention him in a single word, but she mentioned him in every sentence. On the surface, Zilimi was crying about Uncle Yu, but she was actually telling Zhang Yi, Uncle Yu blocked the bullet for you. If something happens to him, you have to help him take care of us. Chapter 131 The Brazen Old Woman. A disgusted expression appeared on Zhang Yi's face. This bitch is really disgusting. They even changed their mouths to call Uncle Yu husband. Why haven't you heard that before? Good guy, now use Uncle Yu to help him block the gun, kidnap him morally to take care of you mother and daughter. You are so damned. Zhang Yi glanced at Uncle Yu. Uncle Yu still has one breath left. Whether he can save his life depends on Jokir. If Uncle Yu hadn't breath left, he would have slapped Zilimi twice right now, so that she couldn't find Bay. But Uncle Yu is still alive, so Zhang Yi has to be patient first. After all, he blocked the bullet for him, so he couldn't just clean up his concubine and oil bottle before he was dead, right? So Zhang Yi kept a cold face and said nothing. Zilimi cried for a long time, seeing that Zhang Yi behind him did not express anything. She felt a little anxious. Uncle Yu is her long-term meal ticket selected out of thousands of choices. But now that the meal ticket is gone, she has to find another meal ticket to support her and her daughter. She will not be so sad when Uncle Yu dies. But taking this opportunity, Daod kidnapped Zhang Yi, and she was very happy to do it. So, Zilimi sniffled, turned her head, looked at Zhang Yi with tears in her eyes and said, Zhang Yi, my husband is okay, right? Husband, you horse. Zhang Yi's face was calm, and he was already cursing in his heart. Don't worry, I will do everything I can to save Uncle Yu. Jokir is the attending doctor of the big hospital. With her here, Uncle Yu's injury can hopefully be cured. His different space stored a lot of things, including the medicines in the 3 major containers, and the medical equipment picked up in the warehouse area later. Zhang Yi has only one sentence: he will do everything he can to save Uncle Yu. But whether it can be successful or not depends only on God's will. Zilimi cried and said, if something happens to him, I don't want to live anymore. Zhang Yi remained silent, not wanting to take up this topic. Seeing that Zhang Yi was indifferent, Zilimi cursed in her heart, Zhang Yi, you have no conscience, Yu Jiguang has blocked the gun for you, so you can't protect our mother and daughter for his sake? She secretly hated Zhang Yi in her heart, but she dared not say that out of her mouth. Crying, she reached out and handed over the tightly wrapped baby in her arms. Zhang Yi, if my husband dies, I don't want to live anymore. But for my husband's sake, please help him take care of the child. Please. Zhang Yi quickly said, Sister Z, what are you talking about? I will definitely do my best to save Uncle Yu. He waved his hand, rejecting this behavior of picking up and dragging the oil bottle. Zilimi followed up and said, what if he can't be saved? Zhang Yi looked solemnly, I will do my best. What if you can't save him with all your strength? Don't worry, I will try my best. I believe that you must also hope that Uncle Yu is okay, right? Zhang Yi stared into Zilimi's eyes and asked word by word. Zilimi was left speechless by Zhang Yi. She asked Zhang Yi so eagerly if he would help take over the offer after Uncle Yu died, as if she was looking forward to Uncle Yu's death. Of course, I definitely hope that my husband can live a good life. Seeing Zhang Yi's eloquence, Zilimi didn't dare to show off her eloquence, so she could only continue crying with the child in her arms. Zhang Yi had someone carry Uncle Yu to the door of his house. Since it was on the 24th floor, there were two groups of neighbors. Even so, they were out of breath. But no one dared to complain a word. Because they knew that if Zhang Yi was unhappy at this time, he would kill them if he said to kill them, without any hesitation. Zhang Yi asked them to put him down, and then said, "You all go." The others were relieved and hurried down the stairs. Yi held the child in her arms, crying while looking at Uncle Yu. Zhang Yi frowned. "Sister Z, go back first. Uncle Yu will be operated on to remove the bullet, and you can't help here." Yi heard the words, but said firmly, "No. He needs someone to accompany him most now, and I can't leave his side." After she finished speaking, she squatted down and quickly held Uncle Yu's hand tightly. The painful expression on Uncle Yu's face also eased a little at this time. Zhang Yi wanted to shoot her, but since Uncle Yu was nearby, it was difficult to do so. It is important to save Uncle Yu now. Zhang Yi didn't dare to delay any longer, so he had to reach out and open the door. Once the door opened, it was like opening the door to fairyland to Yi. It has been a month since the end of the Ice Age, and she has survived the most tormenting month in the cold environment. If Uncle Yu didn't use his body to warm her and the child every night, they would have died long ago. So at this moment, feeling the warm wind blowing from the room, and looking at the familiar yet unfamiliar room layout of a civilized society, her tears fell down. This time it's not acting, but showing the truth. Zhang Yi called Jokir to help him carry Uncle Yu. And Yi unconsciously carried the child into the room. When she saw the water dispenser in the corner, she swallowed her saliva immediately, then quickly picked up a cup from the table and walked over to it, and began to gumble to get hot water. Jokir and Zhang Yi saw this scene. There was a bit of surprise in Jokir's eyes, as if she didn't understand why Zhang Yi would allow her in. But when she saw Uncle Yu covered in blood at the door, she immediately understood. Zhang Yi also looked disgusted, because Yi was holding his cup. She had already received the water, and then she took a few breaths and drank it. Hoo-hoo. Hey, boiled water is so delicious. Yi looked happy. Suddenly, she thought of something and looked at the baby in her arms. Zhang Yi, do you have milk powder at home? Zhang Yi and Jokir were carrying Uncle Yu. Upon hearing Yi's words, Zhang Yi's expression became extremely ugly. What did you say? Yi was taken aback by Zhang Yi's gaze, and then she remembered what was going on. Holding the water glass in her hand, Yi said guiltily, the child needs to drink too. My husband loves the child very much. Zhang Yi stared at her coldly, come and help me. Otherwise, I'll kick you out. Yi didn't dare to talk anymore, so she had to follow the child with her arms in her arms. Zhang Yi and Jokir moved Uncle Yu to an empty room. Zhang Yi's house has 3 rooms and 1 living room, and there is another room besides his and Jokir's room. It is useless on weekdays, and was used by Zhang Yi to place a silent generator. Power for the entire safe house is provided by 3 silent generators. Chapter 132 Counterattack, Destroying the Building. Zhang Yi moved the engine aside, and then directly took out a large white bed from the different space. This scene left Yi dumbfounded. A juggler? She couldn't comprehend what was happening before her eyes. And Zhang Yi didn't bother to explain anything to her. He said to Jokir, save Uncle Yu at all costs. Tell me the medicines and medical equipment you need, and I will try my best to provide them to you. Jokir is also someone who has seen big scenes. Even though Uncle Yu was covered in blood, she didn't panic at all. Instead, she calmly told Zhang Yi what she needed. Zhang Yi took out the medicine and equipment from the different space and gave them to Jokir. How is the situation? Is there any help? Zhang Yi asked in a deep voice. Jokir skillfully changed her clothes, mask and gloves, and her concentrated appearance suddenly became professional, even a little sacred. After she cut Uncle Yu's clothes with scissors, she frowned deeply. The situation is very pessimistic. The position of the bullet is very dangerous. If it hurts the internal organs, it may be hopeless under the current conditions. Zhang Yi took a deep breath, then patted Jokir's shoulder. Do your best. He has done everything he can, and if Uncle Yu still can't survive, then he has no other choice. Yi made a gesture and started crying again. Zhang Yi found her annoying, and scolded, shut up. Don't affect Uncle Yu. If you affect the operation, you should know the consequences. Yi's crying stopped abruptly. She bit her lip and said with a weak look, or else I'd better go outside. I can't help here anyway. How comfortable it is outside. There are soft sofas, hot water to drink, and a big TV to watch. When she came, she caught a glimpse of something toyed in the kitchen. Zhang Yi wished to stay away from this bloody room and enjoy it comfortably outside. The corner of Zhang Yi's mouth raised a cold arc. He stared at Zhang Yi and said word by word, "This operation is very important. It concerns your husband's life. So you have to stay here to help." Zhang Yi hurriedly said, "But I don't know how to cure diseases and save lives." Zhang Yi said, "Help pass me something to wipe off the sweat at the head office, right? Besides, even if you don't know anything, you are the greatest encouragement to Uncle Yu here." Without waiting for Zhang Yi to refute, Zhang Yi said in an irresistible tone, "Okay, this matter is decided like this. You all stay at home, and I will go out for a while." After finishing speaking, Zhang Yi walked outside and locked the door from the outside. There's no way he's letting this woman fuck around in his room. I don't have time to deal with you right now. I'll get rid of those damned bastards first, and then I'll find a dark place to bury you later," Zhang Yi said coldly. He sat down on the sofa, saw the cup that Zhang Yi had used on the coffee table, and threw it directly into the trash can in disgust. He came to the kitchen, took out a can of milk from the refrigerator, and drank it all in one go. Then, Zhang Yi returned to the living room and began to take out his weapons one by one. After all the weapons were sorted out, the assault rifles, pistols, and large snipers were all loaded with bullets, and the grenades were counted, Zhang Yi walked out of the house. On the open space in the center of the community, red plum blossoms bloomed on the ground at this time. There are corpses all over the place. But the snowmobile parked in the wind and snow, and the dozens of bags of food nearby are extremely attractive. After Zhang Yi left with Uncle Yu, some people who were not afraid of death or those who were hungry and crazy ran out from the unit building and dragged these supplies back. Zhang Yi walked down step by step. His steps were steady and powerful, and his rhythm was not affected by anger. It was the opponent who fired the first shot. It would be impolite if he didn't fight back. Originally, he planned to use a peaceful method to poison them to death. Since they chose a more intense method, Zhang Yi didn't care about accompanying them. The sky has darkened. Zhang Yi walked down the stairs, and at the same time took out his mobile phone and shot all the living people in the large group of owners. Everyone come to the 4th floor together. After speaking, Zhang Yi stuffed his mobile phone into his breast pocket, then came to the 4th floor with a rifle in his hand, waiting quietly for everyone to arrive. After a while, neighbors started popping up. They looked at Zhang Yi at this time, feeling uneasy in their hearts, for fear that they would accidentally provoke Zhang Yi, which would lead to death. But they dare not come. Because without Zhang Yi to provide them with food, they still cannot escape the bad luck of death. At this time, there are less than 25 people left in 20. These people gathered together and looked at Zhang Yi with fear on their faces. "Zhang. Brother Zhang, those who attacked you have nothing to do with us. We don't know anything. We are the most loyal to you." Zhang Yi raised his hand abruptly, preventing them from continuing to speak. He slowly turned his head to look at these neighbors. The fierce light in his eyes made everyone dare not look at him. After a person kills someone, there will be something called murderous intent on his body. Whether it is temperament or eyes will become different. And until now, Zhang Yi has killed close to hundreds of people. This kind of strong killing intent is enough to make everyone fearful when they see his eyes. Zhang Yi said coldly, "Those people betrayed their promises and secretly attacked Uncle Yu and me, causing Uncle Yu to be seriously injured. So I must make them pay the price. Tonight, we're going to launch a counterattack against them." Hearing Zhang Yi said that he wanted to counterattack, the big guy's face became even uglier. Counterattack? Just us? Everyone thinks that Zhang Yi is crazy. Fighting in an open courtyard, he does have an advantage with a submachine gun. But at night, a dozen of them went to fight a surprise battle, and the risk was too high. To put it bluntly, Zhang Yi could be crushed to death by a big rock that people stepped back from upstairs. Zhang Yi said, "You don't need to worry about this matter. I will deal with the people in the building, and you are responsible for guarding around. If you find someone jumped off the building at that time, just go up and fix him up." The big guys are still baffled. They don't know why they want to jump down from upstairs. However, Zhang Yi just doesn't let them go to make a surprise attack at night. So a group of people nodded honestly, expressing their willingness to obey Zhang Yi's orders. Zhang Yi stretched out his hand and pointed to 21 in front of him, which was the territory of the crazy wolf gang. Now, go and surround this building. Chapter 133 Hanging Stove Smoke Duck. According to Zhang Yi's instructions, the neighbors of 25 took up weapons and came to the side of 21, and surrounded 21. They didn't know what Zhang Yi planned to do. In case of a real fight, this loose siege does not seem to make any sense. At this time, the members of the Mad Wolf gang upstairs also noticed something unusual. It was Zhang Yi who brought people around. A younger brother warned. Everyone suddenly felt creepy, and their hairs stood on end. Zhang Yi killed so many people just now, including their gang leader Wen Qiang, which made these wolf cubs turn blue with fright. Knowing that Zhang Yi was coming, they were even more flustered and almost lost their minds. It's over, how can we fight that devil? He's terrible. A yellow-haired man covered his head and cried. At this time, Xiao Lu, the second in command of the wolf gang, rushed over, grabbed his collar, and slapped him both left and right. Then he yelled at the crowd, "What are you afraid of? This building is our base. Even if Zhang Yi has a gun, he will lose a layer of skin if he rushes in. Come on, cheer me up and fight him." With Xiao Lu as the second in command, the gang members of the Wild Wolf gang barely broke up. They braced their spirits, clenched their weapons, and stood around every trap. Just wait for Zhang Yi to rush in and play with Zhang Yi. However, Zhang Yi did not walk in as they thought. He just made people look at every window of 21 to prevent someone from jumping out of the window and escaping. Then, he came to the 21st floor entrance of 4. After a flash of white light in the right eye, a large pile of damp trees that had just been felled filled the room. Immediately afterwards, there was a large pile of cheap chemical fiber clothes, which almost filled the entire room. Then Zhang Yi took out a barrel of gasoline from the space and threw it on the ground. After doing this, he exited the room step by step. No one was at the main entrance, including Zhang Yi's neighbors, so no one saw what he was doing. Zhang Yi took out his pistol and fired a bang, breaking the oil barrel. Gasoline flowed out with a crash and extended to the door, like a natural lead. Zhang Yi walked over and lit the gasoline fuse with a lighter call. The flames burst into flames, lighting up the whole room. Zhang Yi retreated quickly, and in just a second, the fire burned violently. The chemical fiber clothes caught fire, and the raging flames engulfed the entire room. Then there is wet wood, which burns quickly after the skin moisture evaporates. However, due to incomplete combustion, black billowing smoke came out. The smoke mixed with the burning chemical fiber clothes rushed straight into the sky. In such a cold weather, every window in the whole building was tightly closed. So the thick smoke has no other place to go, but can only go straight up all the way, and slip through every crack. Like a black flood dragon, it quickly engulfed layer after layer. The members of the Mad Wolf gang upstairs are still waiting for Zhang Yi to attack. But I didn't expect that people didn't wait for it, but instead waited for the extremely pungent black smoke. Cough cough cough, they are actually setting fire. These people are too despicable and shameless. Zhang Yi is such a villain, he is so cowardly with a gun in his hand. Open the window to disperse the smoke. Cough cough, cough cough. Water, is there any water? Wet your clothes and cover your nose. There's no water. Only ice. Pee. My eyes. My eyes are so hot that I can't see anything. Cough cough cough, cough cough cough, cough cough. Thick smoke quickly flooded the entire building. Wait until those people realize the problem and want to open the windows for air. But in this environment, all the windows were sealed by ice and snow, and they couldn't be opened no matter what. The current unit building has become a big oven, and they are all ducks in the oven. However, rather than roast duck, smoked duck may be more suitable. Zhang Yi stood outside the building with a rifle in hand. The yellow firelight shone on his face, which was extremely warm. He recalled that when he was in college, there was a bonfire party organized in the college. Everyone sang and danced around the bonfire. That time is really nostalgic. It's just that the bonfire tonight is bigger and more unscrupulous than that days. And it wasn't until this time that the neighbors around understood what Zhang Yi was doing. In their ears, they could hear the screams coming from the building, and the coughing sounds like sick ghosts, and they couldn't help but feel horrified. At this time, the building has become a death cage, and there is no possibility of escape. The only exit was also blocked by Zhang Yi. Apart from waiting to die, they had no choice but to come out and die. Soon, someone couldn't take it anymore, and rushed down the stairs with thick smoke, trying to escape outside. But with his eyes fascinated, He staggered and fell into the flames. With a piercing scream, he fell into the fire not long after. Someone upstairs smashed a window and jumped out with all his might. 7 or 8 stories high, if not facing the threat of death, I believe few people would dare to jump off. But after landing, before he had time to rejoice, he was hacked to death on the spot by a woman waiting beside him with a knife. The 2 neighbors next to him smiled and said, "Li Yun, you are getting more and more capable now. In the past, you didn't even dare to kill a chicken." Li Yun was praised and smiled happily. She wiped the blood off her face nonchalantly, and said, "Everyone is working hard, so I can't hold back." While she was talking, she noticed that another person fell down beside her. That man vomited blood, his eyes were covered with ashes, and he seemed to be dying, but his limbs were still twitching. "Ah, here's another one, let me do it." Li Yun walked over briskly, then raised a kitchen knife for chopping bones with both hands, and chopped off the man's head with a bang. Other neighbors do the same job. Those upstairs have no idea what awaits below. They just think that breaking the window and jumping can save them. The neighbors are working very hard. Because today they experienced a long-lost warmth. Looking at the blazing flames, everyone had warm smiles on their faces. This flame is so beautiful. Yet, it would be great if we could do this kind of ceremony more often in the future. When everyone was busy, Zhang Yi was at the door, enjoying the warmth. In the community, other unit buildings also saw the movement here. The flames were soaring into the sky, the smoke was billowing, and the desperate screams from time to time filled them with fear. What should we do? Will Zhang Yi use the same means to deal with us? People in every unit building have this idea. Instead of waiting to die, it's better to go out and fight Zhang Yi. But, what to fight for? Use their flesh and blood to fight Zhang Yi's assault rifle? The scene where more than 40 people including Wen Qiang were beaten into sieves is still vivid in my memory. They dare not. It's okay, Zhang Yi will definitely not attack everyone, definitely not. There is an injustice and a debtor, and I am not involved in this matter. They harbor such fantasies in their hearts. Instead of dying, it is better to pray that others will have mercy on them. Chapter 134 Burning. The fire at 21 burned for more than half an hour, and the fire began to gradually decrease, but the thick smoke did not stop at all. Judging from the normal situation, it is impossible for there to be any living people in the building at this time. They had no means of ventilation, and no good means of keeping the poisonous fumes from entering their bodies. So the only way to wait for their results is to die in pain. Even if some people survived by luck and stayed in the building, death is only a matter of time. Because the thick smoke will not dissipate in a short time. Zhang Yi turned around and walked in the direction of 26. Come on, let's go to the next house. The neighbors of 25 are already jealous. It was the first time for them to experience such a smooth way of killing, and the feeling of controlling other people's lives in their hands excited them who had been suppressed for a long time. So a group of people yelled and followed Zhang Yi to the territory of the 26 Cheyenne gang. People at 26 are watching this scene from the window. Seeing Zhang Yi and others walking towards them, the group of people were scared to death. Someone shouted from the inside of the house, "Zhang Yi, Wang Xianfang is dead. This matter has nothing to do with us. There is an injustice and a debtor. You can't kill a good person by mistake." Hearing these words, Zhang Yi burst out laughing. Killing a good person by mistake? Do you consider yourself a good person? Zhang Yi squinted his eyes revealing a strong sense of irony. Which of the people in your building who have survived until now has not had 5 lives in their hands? Furthermore, even if you are good people, what does it matter if I kill you or not? Zhang Yi didn't care how many people participated in the attack against him. As long as anyone is suspicious, even if it is only 1 in 10,000, he will mercilessly erase it. In the last days, it is impossible to keep even a shred of kindness. Otherwise, you will incur disasters for yourself in the future. Let's continue. According to the same method, Zhang Yi asked people to block 26, and then started to set fire from downstairs. There were screams and curses in the unit building. A few people shouted like crazy and rushed downstairs, and were shot in the head by Zhang Yi the moment they appeared. A moment later, billowing thick smoke enveloped the entire 26. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry, he just killed each building one by one, so that no one escaped from the net. Soon, the people in 26 were almost taken care of by him. He didn't stop, and continued to walk towards several other buildings, which were the units of the building chief who had previously confirmed that the organization participated in the attack on him. 5 buildings, flames soaring into the sky, thick smoke billowing. Lights up the whole neighborhood. Even because of the increase in the surrounding air temperature, the surrounding ice and snow began to melt, and the horizon dropped. Residents of other unit buildings suddenly felt creepy, and many of them were scared to pee. Zhang Yi counted the time. Judging from this speed, he should not be able to finish killing in one night. I am also tired. I need to go back and have a rest, and take a look at the results of Uncle Yu's treatment. In order to avoid these guys making trouble and causing him trouble, he decided to appease him first. So he took out a loudspeaker from a different space and shouted in the community, "Don't worry, everyone, I, Zhang Yi, will never hurt innocent people. This time, there is a grievance and a debtor. I only target the units where those who attack me belong. And for those units that are friendly to me, I will not hurt you. Don't be afraid, everyone." After hearing these words, the owners of other units who were still tense in their hearts seemed to grasp the last straw in despair. Although they themselves knew that Zhang Yi's words might just be deceiving them. But people often like to lie to themselves and think in a good direction and everything. Zhang Yi isn't going to kill us anymore? Great, that's great. That's right, it's not us who attacked Zhang Yi. What does it have to do with us? Zhang Yi shouldn't have retaliated against us in the first place. He killed so many people, he must be tired. I don't believe he can really kill the whole community. When a person is not in a desperate situation, he will not hide a stone with a pebble and risk his life for an opportunity with little hope. Zhang Yi gave them this hope, and they could act like ostriches with peace of mind, bury their heads in the sand, and pretend that there was no danger around them. After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he said to the neighbors around him, "Okay, that's the end of today's activities. Go back and rest." The neighbors were a little unsatisfied, and said, "Let's stay here to enjoy the fire first. How warm the flames are. After returning to the unit building, I still have to suffer from the cold, so it is better to watch the fire for comfort." Zhang Yi said lightly, "As you like." After finishing speaking, he turned around and returned to 25. The other neighbors were reluctant to leave, gathered around the fire, their eyes were burning hot. But the flame is slowly getting smaller, because the fuel provided by Zhang Yi will also be exhausted. "The fire is low, what should I do?" one said anxiously. The person next to him looked around, his eyes lit up suddenly, and he thought of a good idea. He and the 2 nearby whispered a few words, and then the 3 of them walked over in a tacit understanding, carried a corpse over, and threw it into the fire. Crackling. There was a crisp cracking sound, like the sound of fat exploding under high-temperature rub. The flames burst out of Lao Gao again. The big guys cheered happily. "This method is good. Haha, why did I forget that animal fat is also a good fuel? There are still many corpses around, enough to keep them roasting for a while. If you are hungry, you can also drop by." What a barbecue feast! On Zhang Yi's way back, he passed the bodies of Li Changbin and Zhang Lei. His footsteps paused slightly, and he suddenly became curious. These 2 people were very easy to use before, obedient and motivated. When they were hanging out with Zhang Yi, at least Zhang Yi made them full. But why did they suddenly turn back? Zhang Yi didn't feel any surprise in his heart, but was a little curious. So, he rummaged through the 2 people, found their mobile phones, and then used their faces to unlock them by the light of the fire. Zhang Yi turned on the phone and looked through their chat records. His eyes gradually became playful. "So this is all." Zhang Yi smiled and threw their mobile phones into the snow. After returning home, Zhang Yi opened the door of the temporary ward. At this time, Zhou Qier was standing against the wall. Her legs crossed. Even though she was wearing a blue surgical gown, it was still difficult to hide her slender legs. Zhang Yi glanced at the hospital bed. Uncle Yu was wearing an oxygen mask, and the heart rate monitor next to him showed a steady wavy line. Zhang Yi breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Uncle Yu's life was saved. In this way, he doesn't count as killing his partner, so he doesn't need to feel too guilty. Chapter 135 The Second Mutant. Zhang Yi said to Zhou Qier, "Qier, thank you for your hard work." Zhou Qier smiled and shook her head. "I'm very happy to be able to help you." While the 2 were chatting, Zhu Limei suddenly walked over with a child in her arms. With a pitiful look on her face, she said to Zhang Yi, "Zhang Yi, we have been hungry for a day. Can you get me and the baby something to eat?" Zhang Yi looked at this woman condescendingly, his eyes full of sarcasm. If he hadn't taken care of Uncle Yu, he would have thrown this troublesome woman into the snowdrift long ago. But now she has successfully aroused Zhang Yi's disgust, so to Zhang Yi, she is already equivalent to a dead person. Now Zhang Yi has other people who need to be cleaned up, and she is temporarily spared. Zhang Yi didn't talk nonsense, and with a wave of his right hand, a box of barrel noodles appeared in front of Zhu Limei. You can eat these things. After all, you are all Uncle Yu's family members, and I won't let you have nothing to eat. Seeing this scene, Zhu Limei was dumbfounded. You, what kind of tricks are you doing? Zhang Yi was too lazy to answer her. But he didn't care about letting Zhu Limei know about his abilities. After all, how could a dead man tell a secret? Zhang Yi hugged Jokier and planned to take her back to the room to rest. After all, she was very tired after several hours of surgery. At this time, Zhu Limei followed closely and said, "Is there anything else to eat besides bucket noodles? I just saw eggs in the kitchen and chicken bones in the bin." Zhu Limei had a weak face, but her eyes were fixed on Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi got annoyed, and left a sentence, "There are only barrel noodles, do you like it or not?" Zhu Limei noticed that Zhang Yi was angry, so she took 2 steps back and whispered, "Oh, don't eat it if you don't eat it. I'm just asking, instant noodles are actually quite good." Zhang Yi helped Jokier back to her room. Jokier smiled and asked, "It's all over now, there is another trouble at home." Zhang Yi said lightly, "It won't be troublesome." Seeing Jokier's tired legs were weak, Zhang Yi put her on the bed, and then reached out to help her take off her shoes. Jokier's complexion was reddish, and her black-covered toes were slightly curled up, which was very cute. "I've been standing for a whole day, my feet may smell." "You don't smell, that's not right." Zhang Yi's smile was a bit evil. But seeing Jokier's exhausted appearance, let her go for now. "How is Uncle Yu's health? How long will it take to recover, or is it just a flashback and won't last too long?" Zhang Yi asked. There was a strange look in Jokier's eyes. She said, "He was badly injured and bled a lot, and we didn't have any blood packs to use. In fact, at first I found it difficult to revive him." Zhang Yi frowned. He hadn't considered the issue of the blood bag before. After all, they are not professional medical staff, so it is impossible to cover everything. "Then how did you save him?" Zhang Yi asked. Jokier looked strange. At first, his heart rate was close to 0, but suddenly, something seemed to have changed in his body. The activity of his body increased rapidly, and even the bleeding from the wound was greatly reduced. She spread her hands, expressing that she didn't understand either. "I have no way to explain this matter." After Zhang Yi heard this sentence, he was shocked. He couldn't be more familiar with this kind of extraordinary thing. Because it happened to him once. It is very possible that Uncle Yu has awakened some kind of supernatural ability. In fact, after his rebirth, Zhang Yi had considered this issue. Gamma rays affected a person's genetic sequence, causing him to become an inhuman. So besides him, will anyone else be born with supernatural powers? However, in the past month, there are more than 1,000 people in the entire community, and they have not seen the appearance of a second stranger. It can be seen that the conditions for the birth of aliens are extremely harsh. After all, a gene mutation itself has a probability of 1 in a billion, and the direction of the mutation is uncertain, so it may not be a good mutation. Unexpectedly, Uncle Yu became the second stranger besides him. Is it possible to awaken in a dying situation? This may be one of the prerequisites for awakening. In this case, the conditions are too harsh. Because in the near-death state, if it is not the ability to repair the injury, you will die even after awakening. If Uncle Yu hadn't met me, he would surely have died. Zhang Yi wanted to understand this, and he relaxed a lot in his heart. Calculated according to this ratio, the probability of him encountering a different person in the future is extremely low. However, I don't know what kind of ability Uncle Yu awakened. After Zhang Yi thought for a while, he said to Jokier, "From now on, you have to inject a certain dose of muscle relaxants or tranquilizers to Uncle Yu every day. It cannot affect his body, but his actions must be controlled." Jokier was a little surprised, but after a little thought, he guessed something. "Did Uncle Yu develop some kind of special ability like you?" Zhang Yi nodded. "I think it should be, but we have no experience in this kind of thing, and we don't know what he will be like in the future. You know the Hulk, right? He is a mutation caused by gamma rays." Zhang Yi spread out his hands, and said with a wry smile, If Uncle Yu also turns into Hulk and loses control of his emotions, it is very likely that this house will be demolished. Zhang Yi deliberately exaggerated, but in fact, according to the conservation of energy, Uncle Yu in his current state will not have too much power even if he transforms. However, for the sake of safety, Zhang Yi still has to observe him for a while to make sure that his mutation is not harmful before he can rest assured. Zhou Qier nodded, "It's simple, just leave it to me." Zhang Yi kissed her, and said softly, "You are tired today, go to rest early." Zhou Qier glanced outside, "What about Uncle Yu? Let Zilima Yi take care of her, can she do it?" Zhang Yi smiled faintly, although she is a very annoying woman, she is not such an idiot. He knows that if something happens to Uncle Yu, I will drive her away immediately. So she will take care of you more than you. Zhou Qier nodded, "It's also true." Zhang Yi asked Zhou Qier to go to bed early, but he went out and saw Zilima Yi serving instant noodles. And her eyes are looking around, not knowing what to steal. Zhang Yi walked up to her and said, "Sister Z, you can live with Uncle Yu. You can take care of him at night." Zilima Yi nodded, looking obedient. Zhang Yi stretched out her hand as a gesture of invitation, and she obediently walked into the room. Then Zhang Yi was outside and locked the door behind him. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136. After Zhang Yi finished handling the affairs at home, he walked out of the house with a gun. There is one thing, and it is time to settle it. At this moment, the entire building was empty, with few people present. The neighbors all went out to barbecue, and there were only 2 houses in the unit building. Zhang Yi came to the door of another house. It was also the room where Lin Kaining, Fang Yuqing and others lived before. Zhang Yi took out his pistol, aimed at the door lock, bang bang, and fired twice, then kicked the door open. He walked in the door with a blast shield in his left hand and a gun in his right. The light in the room was very dark, so Zhang Yi turned on the miner's lamp above his head, and the whole room became like daylight in an instant, and every corner was clearly visible. At this moment, there was a scream from the side, and a woman with disheveled hair rushed over holding a kitchen knife. Zhang Yi calmly put the explosion-proof shield in front of him. The slash was weak and weak. Not only did Zhang Yi not feel much strength, but the woman herself was knocked down to the ground by the shock. Zhang Yi turned around and looked at her with a contemptuous and playful smile on his lips. "Long time no see, Fang Yuqing." The miner's lamp shone on her face, making her unable to open her eyes. At this time, Fang Yuqing was neither human nor ghost, with blood and oil stains all over her body. The whole room was filled with a bad stench and the floor was full of bones. In the corner of the room, there was another half-gnawed corpse. From the clothes left on his body, Zhang Yi judged that it belonged to Lin Kaining. "No wonder you've survived until now, you really deserve to be plastic sisters." Zhang Yi laughed mockingly. Fang Yuqing blocked the incoming light with her hands, and when she knew it was Zhang Yi, she let out a roar of despair and grief. "What? Zhang Yi, why didn't you die? Why? That group of trash, there are so many of them, they can't even kill you, they are trash." The corner of Zhang Yi's mouth was full of sarcasm. "Stupid woman, do you think you can kill me by secretly contacting Wen Qiang and others, and instigating Zhang Lei and Li Chengbin? You are so pitifully stupid. With your brain, you deserve to be played around like a toy, and you end up living in the shape of so many people." She was the one who tipped off Wen Qiang and asked Wen Qiang to ambush Zhang Yi in the snow. She was also the one who overturned Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei and let them attack Zhang Yi together with Wen Qiang and Wang Xianfang. This woman can't do anything else, but the tea art has reached the state of perfection. And green tea is always the one who understands men's thoughts best and knows how to confuse them. "Zhang Yi, I hate you. I am today because of you." Fang Yuqing knew that revenge was hopeless, so she vented her inner emotions hysterically to Zhang Yi. "Obviously you've been chasing me for 2.5 years, but why didn't you suddenly stop chasing me? This is shameless betrayal. You can't even stand such a little test. Why do you say you love me? Originally, as long as you persisted for a while, I would agree to marry you. But why did you abandon me for that bitch? I hate you so much, I wish I could kill you and that bitch with my own hands." Fang Yuqing became more and more excited as she talked, and finally rushed forward to beat Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi sneered, There was no need to use a gun. He just raised the explosion-proof shield in his hand and knocked her to the ground. Bitch is hypocritical. Zhang Yi doesn't have anything nonsense to talk about with this kind of brainless green tea whore. In short, in the eyes of this kind of woman, everything a man does is wrong. He put away the pistol, then took out a crowbar, stepped forward and smashed Fang Yuqing's wrist and calf hard. She is now skinny, and her small bones will break when touched. The crisp crackling sound was accompanied by her sharp screams, not to mention, there was a taste of harmony, which was pleasing to the ear. Fang Yuqing's whole body convulsed from the pain, and her small mouth became less rigid. She cried bitterly and begged Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, please spare me, I don't want to die. Please, let me go. Zhang Yi didn't say a word, just grabbed her hair and dragged her to the window amidst her wailing. Zhang Yi smashed the anti-theft window on the balcony with a crowbar. Fang Yuqing knew what Zhang Yi wanted to do. He wanted to throw her down from the 8th floor. At that time, if you don't fall to your death, your bones will be broken, and you will freeze to death in the snow. Fang Yuqing burst into tears and snot. Zhang Yi, let me go, let me go. You can tell me to do anything. I was wrong, I was really wrong. Hearing her miserable voice, Zhang Yi felt extraordinarily happy in his heart. He couldn't help but recall the time in his last life. She was so pitiful, like a delicate white lotus, with tears in her eyes, begging him to open the door. Then, what awaited him was a brutal feast of gluttony. You deserve it. Zhang Yi smiled. He put away the crowbar, took out a sharp dagger, and in Fang Yuqing's frightened eyes, stabbed, and cut her clothes. Stab. Stab. A moment later, Fang Yuqing was naked and stripped into a white sheep. It was this sheep that was obviously malnourished, leaving only skin and bones. She was so cold that her lips were purple, but she thought that Zhang Yi wanted to sleep with her, so she said tremblingly, "You can sleep with me, as long as you keep me alive." Zhang Yi just stared at her naked body for a few seconds, then sighed in disappointment. It's all skinny, and the fat is so shriveled, what's the point? Zhang Yi is not so hungry. He tore up Fang Yuqing's clothes just to completely humiliate her. He hated Fang Yuqing to the extreme, but after all, he had been greedy for her body and chased her for 2.5 years. But seeing it now, it feels disgusting. Zhang Yi picked up her thin ankle with one hand, and lifted her upside down amidst her screams. This shriveled woman is like a leaky doll, only one place is bulging high, like a steamed bun with black mold. Zhang Yi's face was full of disgust, and at the same time, a bad taste arose in his heart. He looked at the dagger in his hand. It was made in Switzerland, and he felt a little bit reluctant. So Zhang Yi looked around and picked up a broken bone from the ground, with sharp bone stubbles on one end. Maybe this broken bone belonged to Zhou Peng. The corners of Zhang Yi's mouth curled up slightly, then he lifted the bone and stabbed it in. What? An extremely shrill scream came from Fang Yuqing's mouth. She struggled painfully in Zhang Yi's hands, like a hen that had been plucked alive by boiling water. Zhang Yi felt a lot more relaxed, and then threw her out along the window. At this temperature, falling naked on the snow, there is no need to say how sour it feels. Zhang Yi looked down along the window sill, and there was only a human-shaped pit left on the snow. He sighed, am I being too kind? It's a bit cheap to just let her die like this. If there is nothing else, he planned to find a place and slowly cut her up bit by bit. But now his workload is a bit heavy, and there are too many people to kill, so he is too lazy to waste time on this woman. Zhang Yi turned around and left the room, saying as he walked, I'm such a kind and good person. Chapter 137 $10 billion Super Shelter. After one night passed, Zhang Yi asked Zhou to check Uncle Yu's body early the next morning. The results of the inspection surprised Zhou. She said to Zhang Yi, the recovery is very good, and the recovery speed is more than 10 times that of ordinary people. Zhang Yi was even more convinced that Uncle Yu had indeed awakened his abilities. I see. Take good care of him, and he must be cured. He patted Zhou's buttocks, and gave her a deep look. Zhou nodded knowingly, then took out a shot of medicine from the medicine box, and slowly injected it into Uncle Yu's arm. Seeing that they were done, Zhou smiled and came over to make a request. Zhang Yi, I forgot to bring my charger. Can you get it for me? By the way, there are also our baby's diapers. This woman had a smile on her face and a calm demeanor. Judging by her appearance, it seemed that she planned to live here for a long time. She felt that Zhang Yi owed Uncle Yu his life, so she had to support Uncle Yu as a matter of course. And she is Uncle Yu's woman, so she must stay. Zhang Yi glanced at Uncle Yu on the hospital bed from the corner of his eye. Although Uncle Yu is still in a coma, Zhang Yi remembers that people can hear things when they are in a coma. So he smiled and said to Zilimi, I still have very urgent things to deal with outside, and I will help you solve them after I finish my work. The smile on Zilimi's face became even stronger. Well, then don't forget. After Zhang Yi provided them with food and water, he locked the two of them back into the hut. He vaguely had a plan in his heart, and it was time to get rid of this annoying woman. Zhang Yi prepared his whole body, and then summoned all the neighbors to go downstairs, preparing to continue cleaning up other unit buildings. The neighbors were a little surprised when they heard this. Zhang Yi, didn't you say yesterday that you only clean the apartment buildings where the main criminals who attacked you are located? Zhang Yi smiled and said, well, after my investigation yesterday, I found that people from several buildings also participated in the attack on me. Don't worry, Zhang Yi, will not attack innocent people, only those wicked people. After the operation is over, the entire community will be ruled by people from our unit. At that time, I will allocate these buildings and let you manage them. Spreading his hands, he described a bright future for his neighbors. Only by cleaning up the pests can we usher in a truly peaceful and happy life in the future. Are you right? After the neighbors heard Zhang Yi's words, many people had happy expressions on their faces. They also live in fear at 25. If I can go to another unit to be the building manager, wouldn't my future life be happy? Some people also doubted Zhang Yi's statement, but out of all of Zhang Yi, no one dared to raise doubts. Among the crowd, there was Su Hao, a former second-generation rich man. After listening to Zhang Yi's words, his eyes showed a strange look. It was fright and trembling, so much so that his body was trembling slightly. The neighbor next to him noticed the same thing and asked, Su Hao, what's wrong with you? Su Hao swallowed his saliva, and quickly lowered his head. It's okay, I'm fine. It's just a little cold. Others said, oh, then you have to keep warm. If you catch a cold this day, there is a high probability that you will die. Zhang Yi led a group of people under him, and began to clean up the buildings one by one. His target, of course, was the few unit buildings with stubborn forces. Early in the morning, when many people were still huddled under the quilt and did not wake up, Zhang Yi's constant temperature barbecue began. By the time many people were awakened by the thick smoke, they had lost the chance to escape. While setting the fire, Zhang Yi shouted to the whole community with a loudspeaker, Zhang Yi, did not kill innocent people indiscriminately. After my investigation last night, people in these buildings participated in the attack on me. As long as you hand over those people, I will let the past go. If you are stubborn and refuse to surrender, I can only regard you as my accomplices and wipe them all out. When Zhang Yi shouted, those unit buildings that were not burned down fell silent. Zhang Yi is still very reasonable. Those people deserve to die. As long as the fire doesn't reach my head, it's fine. After Zhang Yi kills this group, it will definitely not continue. Anyway, this matter has nothing to do with me. Why did Zhang Yi kill me? That's right, don't worry about this matter. Going out is also getting shot, it's better to stay at home honestly. I believe Zhang Yi is not an unreasonable person. Everyone upholds this mentality and watches the fire from the other side. Besides, although Zhang Yi set fire to it, the neighbors also benefited. You see, the temperature in this community has suddenly become much higher, and everyone is not so cold anymore. The flames were blazing, and the owner upstairs couldn't bear it any longer. He pushed a few people out and said to Zhang Yi, they are the ones who want to harm you. Let's hand them over. Please let us go. Zhang Yi took a look, then calmly raised the gun in his hand. Boom, boom, boom. Those people were all beaten to death by him. Zhang Yi said lightly, nonsense. I think you're just thieves shouting to catch thieves. Do you think so? Do you have evidence? After one morning, Zhang Yi cleaned another 7 units. In the entire community, people in 12 units have been killed by Zhang Yi. There are less than 500 living people in the remaining, unit buildings. And these unit buildings that he left behind are all the weakest, and there were no unit buildings that attacked him in yesterday's attack. Zhang Yi rubbed his eyebrows. He felt that the killing could stop here, because the remaining people could no longer pose a threat to him. If he continued to kill, he was really worried that his spirit would have problems. Let's stop here for today's cleaning. The unit building in front will be discussed later. After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he turned and left, ready to go back and take a good rest. Among the crowd who were still immersed in the barbecue and funeral carnival, a figure suddenly broke away from the group and followed in Zhang Yi's direction. The footsteps behind him were clearly audible, and Zhang Yi looked over coldly. What? Su Hao quickly raised his hands. Brother Zhang, don't get me wrong. I have very important information to tell you. Zhang Yi sneered, his face full of disdain. Very important information? The whole community has been settled by him, what else can be called important? Su Hao looked around, lowered his voice and said to Zhang Yi, Brother Zhang, have you ever heard of the doomsday shelter built by Wang Ximing, the son of the richest man in Jiangnan? Chapter 138 Fishing or Surrender? Su Hao's words instantly brought Zhang Yi's memory back to more than 10 years ago. In the 30s, science fiction movies suddenly became popular all over the world, among which doomsday movies were the most popular. It is said that the beginning also originated from the Earth in Exile series of films in Huaguo. In those years, doomsday movies were extremely popular. Every year, many doomsday-themed movies swept the box office rankings of the year. The influence brought by the movie is that some people really started to build shelters, including many of the world's top rich people. At the time, people undoubtedly regarded this behavior as a kind of joke. Not many people really think the end times are coming. In Zhang Yi's memory, there is such an interesting incident in Huaguo, which stayed on the internet hot search list for several months, and even became a classic theme of ghosts and animals on an AC station, and was ridiculed by others. That is the story of Wang Ximing, the son of the richest man in Jiangnan back then, who spent $10 billion to build a refuge that was said to be indestructible from the outside world. By the way, that shelter was built by Zhanlong Security Company. And Zhang Yi later went to Zhanlong Security Company, which was also related to this matter. But later, there was no follow-up on the news about that shelter. The most indispensable thing in the world is gossip. People only regard this matter as a petty waywardness of a rich second generation. Zhang Yi quickly recalled the events of that year in his mind. He looked at Su Hao in front of him, his eyes became serious. Do you know where that shelter is? If there is such a super shelter costing $10 billion, it will undoubtedly be one of the safest places in the world. Compared with the safe house that Zhang Yi spent 800 million Chinese dollars to build, its security level, interior space and internal facilities are many times stronger. That is a real doomsday fortress, which can resist the level of H-bombs. Zhang Yi was also very curious in his heart, whether such a place really existed. Su Hao carefully looked around, and then said to Zhang Yi, there are so many people here, let's go back and talk carefully. Zhang Yi nodded, and let Su Hao walk in front of him. Su Hao had no objection, and obediently led the way in order to show his sincerity. The two returned to building 25, and then came to the room on the 8th floor. Zhang Yi closed the door behind his back, leaned against the wall, crossed his arms and said to Su Hao, now there is no one here, please tell me carefully. Su Hao didn't hide it either, he understood Zhang Yi's character and didn't dare to talk about it. So he said directly, Wang Ximing's shelter is actually number 101, Yuqing Manor. Yuqing Manor 101? Zhang Yi said the name in his mouth, and suddenly remembered where it was. One of the four most expensive villa areas in Xianhe City. The land price there is an understatement to say that every inch of land is expensive. It is said that the cheapest villa there costs upwards of, million yuan. So the people who can live there are not ordinary wealthy people. And Yuqing Manor 101 was the villa of Wang Ximing, the son of the richest man in the south of the Yangtze River, and it was also rumored to be a super mansion worth 2.5 million yuan. After Lao Wang passed away, Wang Ximing inherited the family's assets worth hundreds of billions. Although he indulged in pleasure and was not good at management, he fell from the rich list for a time. But this man is known as the first son of the Hua Kingdom because he has enjoyed unimaginable splendor and wealth in his nearly 40 years of life. There are rumors that more than 80% of the first-line actresses in Huaguo have had sex with him. Some even said that he has dated tens of thousands of girlfriends. Zhang Yi crossed his arms and looked at Su Hao in front of him playfully. Why did you tell me this news? There is nothing to be courteous, and it is either a traitor or a thief. If the shelter is really as rumored, the cost will be as high as $10 billion. That is definitely not something that Zhang Yi can break in with just a few guns. Therefore, he would not think that he shouldn't hit, so as not to send his own life in it. Who knows? Su Hao said, I tell you this news because I hope to follow you. As long as you let me be your follower, I will help you take down this shelter. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes and carefully looked at the man in front of him. A super shelter costing $1 billion is undoubtedly full of attraction for Zhang Yi. His work in the Yulu community is about to be finished, and the people who should be killed are almost killed. In the outside world, I believe there are still some people who know that he has a lot of supplies. At this time, it is the most sensible way to take off your clothes and hide your identity and reputation deeply. If he could find a more perfect shelter, he would certainly be happy to go there. But, can he trust the person in front of him? Haha. Zhang Yi sneered. He didn't need any thinking, he wouldn't believe it. You take me for an idiot? Is there really such a good place you will tell me? Su Hao quickly explained, although I know where that place is, but now Wang Siming is the owner there. I can't take it down with my own strength. That's why I came to ask you for help. As long as you let me follow you and let me have enough food and clothing in the future, I will do my best to help you. Zhang Yi scoffed. There was no slight fluctuation on his face, and he said in a flat tone, since it is a top-level shelter, it is not so easy to attack it. And after careful calculation, there is no friendship between us. You suddenly gave me such a big gift, do you think I will believe that there is a pie in the sky? Seeing Zhang Yi being so cautious, Su Hao told Zhang Yi the location of the shelter, but the other party remained indifferent. He gritted his teeth, and said another important message, not only do I know the location of that shelter, but I have also been in it. I basically understand the layout there. Actually, Wang Siming and I still had contact before. He knew about you through some channels. So, in fact, he offered to let me lead you there, and then took the opportunity to snatch the supplies and snowmobiles from your hands. A killing intent flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. Su Hao was so frightened that he waved his hands hastily to explain, but I rejected him at that time. I'm so brave that I wouldn't dare to think of you. Zhang Yi sneered. His eyes were cold, he stared at Su Hao quietly, and said word by word, perhaps, maybe you are also playing fishing with me now. As soon as the words fell, Zhang Yi's pistol was pressed against Su Hao's forehead. I'm going to shoot you right now. Zhang Yi said coldly. Su Hao was so frightened that his calves trembled. And he shouted hoarsely, don't kill me, don't kill me. Everything I say is true. Trust me, boom. Chapter 139 Prince Wang tens of thousands of girlfriends. After the gunshot, Su Hao's pupils constricted, and his body went limp all of a sudden. Zhang Yi's shot missed his head, but shot past his ear. This shot scared Su Hao's guts out. He sat on the ground, panting heavily. Brother Zhang, don't kill me, what I said is true. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, squatted down slowly, stared into Su Hao's eyes and asked, give me an explanation that satisfies me. Let me believe that you are not playing tricks with Wang Siming to harm me. Then there is still a chance of life. Su Hao took a few deep breaths, trying to calm down his emotions. He said, because compared to fighting against you, you have a chance to live by following you, right? I've seen your methods. I'm not that stupid, and I dare to be your enemy. In contrast, Wang Siming, who has been living in the shelter, is easier to deal with. What's more, Su Hao gritted his teeth and said, compared to you, I hope that Wang Siming will die. A gleam flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. Oh, aren't you friends? Friend? There was resentment and sorrow in Su Hao's smile. He and I are not friends at all. In his eyes, I may not be much different from a dog. Su Hao explained the relationship between the two to Zhang Yi. Our Su family can be considered a wealthy and powerful family in Xianhe City. My dad's listed company has a market value of several billion. Logically speaking, I am the number one son in Xianhe City, right? But after Wang Siming came back from abroad, the pattern of rich second-generation circles in Xianhe City has completely changed. The Wang family is far superior to our family in terms of financial resources and background. In front of others, I am Su Xiao who is worth a lot of money. But in his eyes, I am nothing at all. Zhang Yi smiled slightly, and said with great interest, I remember Wang Siming said a word. I don't care whether he has money or not when I make friends. I don't have money anyway. Su Hao nodded, that's right, that's the truth. Zhang Yi didn't understand. You hate him just because he is richer than you? No, you don't understand our circle at all. Su Hao shook his head, and then explained to Zhang Yi. The Su family is in the building materials business, and the Wang family is our biggest financial backer. In other words, our whole family depends on the face of the Wang family for dinner. So as soon as Wang Siming came back, I had to try my best to curry favor with him. Su Hao's eyes were full of humiliation, and his fists were clenched. A wealthy son who has been pampered for more than 20 years, but spends his whole day lying low and being a petty person to please others, he will definitely feel humiliated in his heart. Even if he likes my woman, I don't dare to complain. I have to send it to his bed in person. Su Hao's face turned rosy with excitement. That's my woman, my woman. If he says a word, I have to send it to him to play with. Not just once, but several times, several times. Do you know that because of this incident, I have become the laughingstock of others in the second-generation circle in Jiangnan? Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows, feeling a little bit about this. A well-known rich second generation in Jiangnan, but in order to please a bigger rich second generation, he handed over his girlfriend many times. How does this behavior differ from that of a pimp? No wonder Su Hao was so excited. Speaking of women, Zhang Yi also asked curiously. I have long heard that Wang Ximing's greatest hobby is beautiful women. Some people even say that he has dated tens of thousands of girlfriends. Is this true? When Zhang Yi heard the rumor, he didn't quite believe it. After all, even if a person lives to be 100 years old, it is only 36,500 days with so many girlfriends. I can't finish one round a day. Su Hao laughed. Brother Zhang, don't blame me for speaking badly. You ordinary people can't even imagine how rich the real rich circle is. You think the rich people's lives written in those online novels are already exaggerated and false, right? But compared with reality, it's still far from it. Zhang Yi's eyes became more serious. People always have some gossip complex. Oh? What do you say? Su Hao laughed and said, there are more than tens of thousands of women around Wang Ximing, that's 10,000 plus women. Zhang Yi was stunned for a moment, then laughed loudly, and scolded, what do you mean about you? There must be a limit to bragging. Don't think that I don't know anything because I'm not a rich second generation like you 10,000 plus? Why don't you say more than a billion? Zhang Yi felt that Su Hao was playing tricks on him. Sima Yan, the famous licentious emperor in history, had a harem of only tens of thousands. Because there are too many people, I can't come here every day. We had to pull him in a sheep cart and spend the night wherever we stopped. Wang Ximing is only about 40 years old now. If he has 10,000 plus women, wouldn't he have to play poker with hundreds of people every day on average? In that case, it would be a miracle that he was alive. Brother Zhang, what I said is true. I also said that you can't imagine the world of rich people. Su Hao smiled helplessly. Zhang Yi asked curiously, really? Then tell me carefully, how did these 10,000 plus people play? Su Hao explained seriously, this is not easy. There are people around Wang Ximing who are dedicated to finding women for him all over the country. These women have all kinds of status from high to low. Female stars in the film and television industry, female anchors on the internet, celebrities from Xianhe City, girls from Shengjing Beiziwen, etc. He is not taboo. As long as he is a beautiful girl, he will snare all of them. As far as I know, he has dozens of mobile phones, and each mobile phone is marked with a number, representing dozens of provinces. And in each mobile phone, there are dozens of WeChat groups. All over the country, in every place, he will set up a group, in which are local beauties. Not only domestic, but also foreign ones. Zhang Yi's expression was slightly astonished. Can you still play like this? Really long experience. There are so many girls, how can he be so busy? Zhang Yi doesn't quite understand it. Could it be that he also knows the technique of multiple shadow clones, or have you practiced unlimited hanging? Su Hao said with a smile, it's actually very simple. These girls, as long as he goes to a certain place to play one day, he will notify the people nearby, and he can call hundreds of people to accompany him at once. Even if he doesn't pass on weekdays, as long as he wants to play, the National Airborne is just a matter of news. By the way, have you seen the videos of girls riding on their bodies online? Congratulations to EDG for winning the championship, and congratulations to Messi for winning the championship. Where do these videos come from? For example, if Wang Ximing gives an order in the group, they will immediately perform various performances for you. Not to mention riding on the body, there are even larger scale ones. Usually throwing red envelopes in the group, the amount is tens of thousands or even 10,000 plus. And the girls who grab the biggest red envelopes will post videos. Zhang Yi was also deeply moved when he heard it. I didn't expect rich people to be able to play like this. I understand. To put it bluntly, He takes so many girls as backup groups. It's hard to say whether they will be used or not, but it's like keeping pets. They will be there when they are needed, right? Su Hao nodded. That's the reason. After all, people's money can't be spent in 10 lifetimes, so we have to find a way to spend it. He also said humorously, this is also a kind of redistribution of social wealth, isn't it? Zhang Yi took a deep breath and shook his head slightly. I finally understand why there are so many leftover women in big cities. Chapter 143 Conditions. What Su Hao said made Zhang Yi slightly touch the edge of the life of the top rich second generation. But now that doesn't matter. After the gossip was over, Zhang Yi stared at Su Hao and asked indifferently, tell me what you think. If I agree to cooperate with you, how can you help me? Su Hao felt that there was something to be said for the matter, and suddenly became energetic. I still have contact with Wang Ximing. After I told you about your situation, he was also very interested in the supplies and snowmobiles in your hands. So, we can play a scene. Pretend that I tricked you, and then let Wang Ximing open the door. At that time, with your ability, brother, wouldn't it be a matter of minutes to kill him? Zhang Yi thought for a moment, stared at him and asked back, if Wang Ximing's shelter is really worth $10 billion, does he still need to covet the supplies in my hands? Zhang Yi has also seen sci-fi movies. Usually, in such a large shelter, the material stored in it can be used for at least 10 years. It's not that just a month later, there is a shortage of supplies. Su Hao scratched his head with a playful expression. But, this shelter has been built for 10 years. At that time, Wang Ximing was doing that thing purely on a whim. After his interest passed, he didn't take the shelter too seriously, and just lived in it as an ordinary villa. The materials hoarded inside have long been disliked by him and thrown away as garbage, and then converted into a love room or a sports venue. Zhang Yi listened silently, and basically constructed a blueprint for that super shelter in his mind. What about weapons and equipment? Such a powerful shelter must have anti-invasion facilities inside, right? This is what Zhang Yi cares most about. If he wants to attack other units, they will set up traps to stop him. Let alone a super shelter. Su Hao suddenly shut up at this moment. He said to Zhang Yi, unless you agree to cooperate with me, let me hang out with you, and guarantee my food and clothing in the future. Otherwise, I can't tell you this news. Su Hao is not stupid. If he tells Zhang Yi all the news, he will be worthless. Can tell me? Zhang Yi sneered, shaking the pistol with his right hand. Then what's the use of me keeping you? Su Hao swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and quickly said, even if you beat me to death, I won't say it. Because this is my only hope of living. I know you're going to kill us all before long, won't you? A strange look flashed across Zhang Yi's eyes. He did have this plan. Most of the bastard neighbors in this unit have shared their share of the pie. Of course he wouldn't keep them. As soon as the troubles in other units are resolved, he will immediately send this group of people on the road, including Su Hao naturally. You seem a little clever, how do you know that? Zhang Yi asked with a smile, but that smile was a little cold in Su Hao's eyes. Su Hao gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, because you are not a good person. The reason why you still support us neighbors is just to help you deal with the troubles of other units. Now the people in other units that are dangerous to you are almost dead. You will not be so kind, continue to provide us with food and drink. Zhang Yi slowly put down the gun in his hand. Su Hao is right, this guy is indeed a little clever. Su Hao said, so, instead of waiting to die, I'd better fight. Use the information in my hands to trade you a chance of survival. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes and looked at Su Hao in front of him. He was weighing the pros and cons in his mind. According to Su Hao, the super shelter worth $10 billion is stronger than his safe house, and there are various living facilities in it. For example, farms, swimming pools, gymnasiums, and even love houses. If Zhang Yi can take this place down, the quality of life in the future will definitely be greatly improved. However, the risks behind this matter must be considered. First, Zhang Yi doesn't trust Su Hao. No matter how extravagant he said, it was impossible for Zhang Yi to trust someone who didn't have a good relationship with him. And based on Zhang Yi's impression of Su Hao himself is unreliable. If the trust between the two is established, this is the most important thing. It must be ensured that Su Hao will not deceive him. Second, even if what Su Hao said is true, it is unknown how risky the action is. Zhang Yi had his own safe house, and it was because of it that he killed dozens of neighbors who wanted to attack by force. and the security level of Wang Ximing's shelter is at least hundreds of levels higher than his safe house. It was a shelter that was resistant to H-bombs, and Zhang Yi's current weapons could not break through it at all. Zhang Yi remained silent, and Su Hao waited nervously not far from him. This waiting process was undoubtedly a huge torment for Su Hao, because he knew that once Zhang Yi refused him, the result would be to kill him immediately. But he has no other way to go. Unless he can hug Zhang Yi's thigh, he will die sooner or later. After a long time, Zhang Yi made a decision in his heart. He looked at Su Hao, and said coldly, "I can promise you to hang out with me. But there are few conditions that you must abide by." Su Hao's tense body suddenly relaxed, and his heart was ecstatic. He won the bet. Su Hao couldn't help nodding. "Okay, tell me what you want." Zhang Yi said, "First, you must clearly explain to me the situation inside the shelter, especially the safety devices and firepower inside." Su Hao quickly said, "Naturally, after the shelter was built, Wang Ximing invited many people to visit it to show off. I was among them." Zhang Yi nodded. "Second, I need you to help me kill someone. This matter is easier to handle. Now is the end of the world, what's the point of killing someone?" But Su Hao was a little strange. "Who do you want to kill? Can't you kill me?" Zhang Yi smiled lightly. "It's a person I don't feel comfortable doing. Anyway, just wait for my news." Su Hao didn't hesitate at all. Just killing a person is equivalent to submitting a nomination certificate. This deal is really worth it. Then, there is one last condition. The smile on Zhang Yi's face became a little weird, and Su Hao couldn't help but swallow his saliva. "What?" Zhang Yi said, "Go upstairs. I'll fetch something for you." Su Hao didn't know what Zhang Yi was talking about, but he followed him to the stairs on the 24th floor. "I'm going to get something, you stay here and don't move around." After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he went into the house alone and left Su Hao there. Chapter 141 Poison. After Su Hao waited outside for a few minutes, the sound of the door opening came. He hurriedly looked outside, and saw Zhang Yi walking over with a silver suitcase. Su Hao's eyes fell on the suitcase, and he felt that it looked very mysterious, and he didn't know what was hidden inside. Zhang Yi walked up to Su Hao, and said to him calmly, "Do you know what I did before?" Su Hao froze for a moment, then shook his head. In the past, he was a rich second generation, and Zhang Yi was just an ordinary young man who could be seen everywhere in the community. Why would he care who Zhang Yi is? Zhang Yi continued, "In the earliest days, I was a boxer. In 2041, he won the championship for the first time in free kickboxing in Southeast Asia. In 2042, defeat the heavy gunner Thunder Dragon of Sakura, and follow up with the karate masters who swept Sakura country for 3 consecutive years. Later, he joined the French mercenaries and participated in battles in the Middle East all year round. He was given the nickname, Half a Fox. Because I was tired of fighting and killing in the rivers and lakes, I returned to China. My current occupation is an ordinary killer and warehouse manager." Su Hao's scalp became numb when he heard this. He didn't expect the man in front of him to have so many hidden identities besides being handsome. Su Hao said in his heart, no wonder his marksmanship is so powerful. He never relents when killing people. Let me just say, this person is either a retired urban soldier king, or a professional killer. Sure enough. This is a real boss. If you can hang out with him in the last days, you will definitely be able to survive. As Zhang Yi spoke, he opened the silver suitcase in his hand. When I was a mercenary, I often caught some prisoners who were difficult to deal with. Therefore, we have special countermeasures for those who are stubborn or have bad intentions. While talking, he stared at Su Hao with his eyes. Su Hao's body tensed up, terrified. I saw that after Zhang Yi opened the suitcase, he took out a needle tube from it, and there was already a tube of blue liquid in it. That deep blue reminded Su Hao of poison. This scene can be seen more than once in the movie. The fear in his heart made Su Hao back again and again. Brother Zhang, what are you doing?" There was a smile on the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth, and he walked towards him holding the syringe. "This is a chronic poison we commonly use. It will take a week after the injection. If there is no antidote, you will definitely die. If you want me to believe you, then let me give you an injection. Don't worry, as long as we take down Wang Ximing's shelter, I will give you the antidote." Su Hao's eyes widened. "What? It's really poison. No, don't come here." Zhang Yi was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. "It's up to you. This is the end of the matter. You have to fight if you fight, And you have to fight if you don't fight. After speaking, he held down Su Hao and pushed him directly against the wall. Then he tore off his pants and slowly but firmly inserted the needle into his ass. Su Hao shed tears in humiliation. Zhang Yi finished the work soon, put away the needle, smiled and said to him, "From now on, you are mine." Su Hao pulled up his pants tremblingly. Suddenly, his head spun and he fell to the ground. Vomit. Su Hao lay on the ground and retched. He felt extremely uncomfortable at this time, dizzy, retching. Chest tightness, and even breathing was not smooth. This made him more convinced that he was poisoned. Zhang Yi said lightly, "Don't panic, this poison is chronic. I also want to make sure that we don't have to be suspicious of each other. In this way, if you cheat me to death, you won't survive. And after I get to shelter, there is no need to kill you. Instead, I will give you enough food and a comfortable living environment." Su Hao retched for a while. Although he was upset, he knew that he had gained Zhang Yi's trust. "I understand. I will contact Wang Ximing immediately after I go back. Let's go there as soon as possible." Zhang Yi nodded, "Okay. You go back first, and I will give you instructions on what to do next." Su Hao panted heavily, and walked down the stairs with difficulty. Zhang Yi watched him go downstairs, feeling a little relieved. It was also a big challenge for him to agree to cooperate with Su Hao to spy on the $10 billion shelter. In fact, Zhang Yi's so-called chronic poison does not exist at all. He was using a drug called methylene blue injection, which is used to treat methemoglobinemia. However, if the drug is injected too quickly, it can cause symptoms similar to poisoning such as dizziness, retching and chest tightness. Only by doing this, can he ensure that Su Hao is not cheating him, and also prevent him from betraying him temporarily in the future. Clean up the problems in the community first, and then go there to have a look. Zhang Yi also had his own arrangements in mind. He returned home and used the surveillance to check the scene in the ward. Uncle Yu had already woken up, while Zhang was holding the child and whispering to him beside him. Although Zhang Yi couldn't hear it, he knew it must be something bad. Zhang Yi raised his mouth and walked over to open the door. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Zhang Yi immediately shut up, pretending to coax the child. Zhang Yi didn't look at her, and walked up to Uncle Yu with a smile. "Uncle Yu, you're awake. You really scared me to death, but luckily you're fine." Uncle Yu's expression was still a little weak. He squeezed out a smile, and said to Zhang Yi, "Fortunately, you have a doctor here, otherwise I would really die. I heard that you got rid of all those people Wang Ximing put away? It's really you." Zhang Yi said with a smile, "What are they? It's not worth mentioning to me." As he spoke, he peeled off his coat, revealing the body armor inside. "I have a bulletproof vest on my body. They had a broken gun and thought it was a secret weapon. But it's useless to me." Uncle Yu's eyes widened and his mouth was open, extremely embarrassed. At that time, he risked his life to help Zhang Yi block the bullet, but unexpectedly, it was in vain. Zhang Yi said with a smile, "It's also my fault that I didn't tell you in advance. Who would have thought that they would suddenly explode and hurt people? It's a good thing you're fine, otherwise I'd be so sorry." Uncle Yu was quite embarrassed. "No, I can't help much either. Please save me." Zhang Yi waved his hand. "You don't need to say such polite words to me. I'm already very touched that you have such a heart." In a few words, Zhang Yi let Uncle Yu understand that Zhang Yi didn't owe him much, but just accepted his affection. This kind of thing has to be settled clearly to avoid trouble in the future. Chapter 142. Zhang Yi comforted Uncle Yu. At this time, Uncle Yu has a different meaning to Zhang Yi. His body has mutated, and the type of ability is unknown. However, according to Zhou Qier's description and current observations, it should be about enhancing physical fitness. This is so crucial to Zhang Yi. What he needs is a reliable. Well, it may not sound good to say it, but it is actually a labor plus meat shield. Heal your injuries well, and you don't have to worry about other things now. Zhang Yi comforted him. Uncle Yu said in a weak voice, "No, I feel that I have no strength in my whole body now, and I can't lift my arms. If you go on like this, I don't know how long I'll have to trouble you." Zhang Yi knew that it was the effect of muscle relaxants. "It's okay, you just recuperate steadily. I'm here for other things." Uncle Yu glanced at Zhang Yi gratefully and nodded. Zhang, who was next to her, heard this and said quickly, "Zhang Yi, you are so kind to my husband. Our family of 3 doesn't know how to thank you. Our whole family will count on you from now on." Uncle Yu blushed, and said weakly, Emily, you can't trouble others all the time. You can take care of you when I recover from my injury. Zhang put her hand on his shoulder and said aggrievedly, you have been injured for 100 days, but you were shot. When will you recover? Even if you recover, your body is not as good as before. What can you do? Zhang Yi is so capable. What do you say if he wants to take care of us? Isn't this a waste of his efforts? Uncle Yu's face flushed red. He was not good at words, and he didn't know how to refute what Zhang said. Zhang Yi smiled slightly. Sister Z said that I will be responsible for the life of your family of 3 in the future. Zhang's eyes lit up, and she said excitedly, Zhang Yi, you promised this with your own mouth. You don't want to go back on your word. Zhang Yi smiled and nodded, of course. Zhang Yi, spit on every nail and never regret it. Uncle Yu was very embarrassed. Zhang Yi, Zhang Yi stopped Uncle Yu from continuing. Heal your wounds well. After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he got up and wanted to leave. Before he reached the door, he muttered in his heart. 3, 2, ... Before counting 1, Zhang's voice sounded. Zhang Yi, don't rush away. Eldest sister has something to tell you. The corners of Zhang Yi's mouth curled up slightly. Zhang was locked up in this room for a day. Although he provided food and hot water, people always push their feet, and she will definitely have more demands. And when they came, neither she nor the child's daily necessities were brought. She must go back and get something. Zhang Yi turned his head and asked with a smile, Sister Z, what's the matter with you? Zhang said, Zhang Yi, we have been here all day. The phone is dead and can't be charged, and the child's diapers should be changed. Otherwise, why don't you go and help the elder sister get the money? Zhang Yi smiled helplessly. Sister Z, I've been busy all day, and I'm really tired. You know, I've been fighting and killing every day. Not only is my body tired, but my spirit also needs to rest. And I'm not familiar with Uncle Yu's house and yours, and I don't know where things are kept. Or you'd better get it yourself. After hearing this, Zhang hesitated for a moment. She turned her head and glanced at Uncle Yu on the bed, feeling a little relieved. She stared at Zhang Yi pretending to be joking and said, then when my sister comes back, you are not allowed to enter. Zhang Yi, hey, look at what you said. Am I that kind of person? Uncle Yu is still here. If I don't open the door for you, what will I become? Zhang smiled slyly, and suddenly stuffed the baby in Zhang Yi's arms. Then, child, take it for me first. I'll be back soon. Zhang felt that neither Zhang Yi nor Zhou Qier could take care of the child, so as long as the child was left behind, Zhang Yi had to let her in. Zhang Yi saw this little thought clearly. He sneered in his heart. What, you think I can't throw this child away, do you? On the surface, he still smiled, no problem, but you have to come back quickly, big sister Z. I'm afraid I can't take care of this child. Zhang smiled triumphantly, don't worry, I don't want to stay outside too much. I can't bear to leave such a good place. She glanced at the comfortable house, her eyes were full of satisfaction, as if she was looking at her new home. Zhang Yi opened the door for Zhang, and she went out. Zhang Yi closed the door and looked down at the baby in the swaddle. This is a white and tender little doll, the skin is like water. After Zhang Yi saw her, his heart was touched. He couldn't help reaching out to touch the child's little face. It's cool, like a piece of watery jelly. Zhang Yi took a deep breath. He still couldn't do anything to the child. Go back and find a woman to adopt you. Zhang Yi took out his mobile phone, sent a message to Su Hao, and then carried the child back to the ward to chat with Uncle Yu. After Zhang left Zhang Yi's house, she suddenly felt a biting cold hit her. Shocked by the cold, she quickly put on her hat and put her hands in her pockets. It's so cold, so cold. She glanced back at the heavy door of Zhang Yi's house, with jealousy and covetousness in her eyes. It turns out that this room is so warm. Compared to it, the outside is like a freezing hell. My baby and I will live here and will never leave. Only here can my baby grow up healthily. Zhang thought of how the child would grow up, and a knowing smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. But the cold outside brought her back to reality. She hurried downstairs with her arms folded. Just when she came to the door of Uncle Yu's house and took out the key to open the door, a figure appeared behind her. Su Hao held up a bloody kitchen knife in his right hand, and slashed at her neck. PFFT blood gushed out like a spring. Zhang fell to the ground with a dazed expression. Apart from the fear of death in her widened eyes, there was also reluctance and worry for her child. Su Hao stepped forward, worried that Zhu Limei was not dead, so he hurriedly made up a few more stabs. He nodded in satisfaction until it was confirmed that Zhu Limei had no signs of life, and then hurriedly left the scene. Zhang Yi's home. Sitting in front of Uncle Yu's hospital bed with a child in his arms, he said with a smile, "I've made up my mind. I will let Sister Zhu live here with the child in the future. When you recover from your injury and the child grows up, you can move back." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143. After hearing Zhang Yi's words, Uncle Yu was so excited that he didn't know what to say. This is too much trouble for you. Your family's supplies are also limited. There are 3 more people, and the coal used for heating will more than double. I'll move out when I recover from my injury. I have arms and legs, and I can't let you keep them. Zhang Yi smiled and said, "Let's not talk about this now, you can rest at ease. Let's talk about the future things later." At this moment, the baby in Zhang Yi's arms suddenly burst into tears with a loud wow. Zhang Yi has no experience in raising children. He was holding the baby in the wrong position, so he quickly woke the baby up and cried loudly. Zhang Yi quickly coaxed him up, but no matter what he said, the baby just couldn't stop crying. It's a big head for Zhang Yi. Even in the face of dozens of people who wanted to kill others, he never had such a headache. Uncle Yu is also helpless, because Zhu Limei always takes care of the children at home. In desperation, Zhang Yi had no choice but to ask Zhou for help. "You find a way to make this child quiet for a while." Zhang Yi looked helpless. But who knew? Zhou was at a loss when he saw the crying baby. I don't know how to bring children either." Zhang Yi had an idea. "Why don't you give him a sedative? If it doesn't work, give him some sleeping pills." Zhou's expression was a little speechless. If a baby takes sleeping pills, it will be very harmful to the body. Isn't that good? What about her mother? Zhang Yi's tone was a little cold. "Go back to get things." Zhou had no choice but to take the child from Zhang Yi's hands first. But both of them are newbies in this field, and she can't coax them well. Suddenly, Zhang Yi thought of something and said, "Could it be that she needs to change her diaper?" Zhou also suddenly realized. She opened the swaddle and saw that the baby's diapers were almost full. Zhang Yi coughed, then stepped back 2 meters silently, and at the same time took out a bag of diapers from a different space and put them on the ground. "Give it to you." Zhou was speechless, but seeing the crying baby in her arms, she had no choice but to try to change it for her. It took a long time for Zhou to help her change the diaper, and sure enough, her crying gradually weakened. Zhang Yi took Zhou to Uncle Yu's ward, chatted with him, and asked Zhou to help Uncle Yu check his body. Zhang Yi asked Uncle Yu, "Uncle Yu, do you feel any changes in your body? It's just something different from usual." Uncle Yu shook his head weakly. "I have no strength in my body now. I just feel itchy in the wound." Zhou said, "That means your wound is recovering, which is normal." Zhang Yi at least got a piece of information that Uncle Yu's ability to resist drugs is not particularly strong, and it will also be affected. Several people chatted for a while, and after more than half an hour, there was no sign of Zhu Limei returning. Uncle Yu couldn't help feeling a little worried. Why hasn't she come back? When Zhang Yi heard this, his pupils shrank sharply, and he said in a deep voice, "Could it be that he's in danger?" He quickly stood up and said worriedly, "It's chaotic outside now, and the building is killing people like crazy. Yesterday Zhang Lei and Li Chengbin even attacked me. It's hard to guarantee that there are no traitors among the remaining people. No, Miss Z is in danger." Zhang Yi looked nervous. Uncle Yu also said worriedly, "Zhang Yi, hurry up and take a look. Don't let her get into trouble." Zhang Yi nodded. "Take good care of Uncle Yu and the child. I'll go out and have a look." After speaking, he quickly turned around and left the ward. Then, Zhang Yi returned to his room and began to arm himself. Bulletproof vests, bulletproof pants, armed belts, pistols, daggers. An M4 was hung on the shoulder, and the bulletproof helmet on the head clicked and dropped the transparent mask. "Ready." Zhang Yi took out his mobile phone and sent a message to the owners in the group. "Please gather in room 13 on the 1301st floor. Next, I will distribute supplies and decide on the division of each unit building in Yulu community in the future. You can choose any unit building it will, first come, first served. After saying these words, Zhang Yi specially sent a message to Su Hao, be honest and stay at home. Then he put his phone away and walked out of the house. Zhang Yi's footsteps were very slow, but he heard the sound of rumbling coming from the corridor. It was very hurried footsteps. The neighbors were very excited when they knew that Zhang Yi wanted to divide the food and the territory. They rushed towards the 13th floor scrambling, for fear that they would be late and that all the good sites would be taken up by others. Zhang Yi held an assault rifle and walked down the stairs step by step, taking his time. He walked up the 11th floor of the stairs for a full 5 minutes. When he came to the 13th floor, Zhang Yi heard chattering voices from room 1301. The neighbors are more excited than one, and they are all imagining the beautiful and peaceful days in the future. Now the other buildings have been conquered by us, and we will have the final say on the community in the future. Haha, Zhang Yi is also very interesting. Let us manage a building alone. It's pretty cool to think about it. Let people from other units be our servants. The most important thing is the source of supplies. Zhang Yi has to continue to provide us with food, or share the right to use snowmobiles with us. I think he will accept this suggestion. After all, the community is stable now, and he doesn't want to break the status quo. We can support Zhang Yi as the boss of the community, and then he provides food and keeps us safe. It's fair. From the perspective of Zhang, we can also provide labor and help him defend the community when foreign enemies invade. They didn't know that Zhang Yi was outside the room. A group of people have imagined a better life in the future. They think that all those who threatened them are dead, and there will be only harmonious and beautiful days in the future. Zhang Yi heard it clearly outside, but there was a mocking smile on the corner of his mouth. He opened his right hand and took out 2 grenades from the different space. At the same time, he took out the explosion-proof shield and blocked it in front of him. After making these preparations, Zhang Yi pulled off the ring on the grenade and rolled the grenade in from the door. Zhang Yi quickly raised the explosion-proof shield, and then backed away. In the room, a neighbor noticed 2 melon-like things rolling under his feet. Hey, what is this? He looked down curiously. When he saw the thing clearly, a burst of fire instantly engulfed him. Boom. A dozen or so people in the room were instantly blown away, and the entire house vibrated visibly. Chapter 144 Can't Miss One. Zhang Yi leaned against the corner of the aisle, blocking in front of him with an explosion-proof shield. The explosion was louder than expected, and it hurt his eardrums. But the power of the explosion did not reach here, only some dust fell from the wall. Zhang Yi let out a long breath. Holding the explosion-proof shield vigorously, and carrying a loaded assault rifle in one hand, he walked to the door of 1301 step by step. After seeing the scene inside clearly, Zhang Yi's body relaxed. The effect of these 2 grenades is very good. There were more than a dozen people lying around in the room, and the furniture in the room was also knocked down, hitting some people, and only half of them could be seen. In the corner of the room, a man's face was covered with blood. He struggled for a long time without standing up, but stared at Zhang Yi with extremely disgusting eyes. We have helped you so much, why kill us? When he opened his mouth, blood flowed out from his mouth, but he was still roaring angrily. He felt that he had been betrayed. He had helped Zhang Yi for so long, how could Zhang Yi let go of the pain and kill the donkey? You help me? I don't think so. As Zhang Yi spoke, he raised his gun and pointed it at his head, ending his life with one shot. The ridiculous neighbors still think that they helped Zhang Yi until now. If it wasn't for Zhang Yi's protection, they would have died long ago. Allowing them to live until now is Zhang Yi's greatest gift to them. Zhang Yi raised his gun, pointed at every person or corpse on the ground, and shot them all in the forehead. Sure enough, some people pretending to be dead couldn't take it anymore, and got up yelling to fight Zhang Yi desperately. But what greeted him was still a cold and merciless bullet. Boom, boom, boom. Bullets were fired from the barrel of the carbine with a slow but powerful sound. Each bullet will accurately take away a life. Zhang Yi never wastes bullets, which is extremely precious in the last days. 5 minutes later, Zhang Yi added a bullet for everyone. During the period, some people cursed, some begged, some screamed in despair, but Zhang Yi was very fair and treated everyone equally, and would not shoot an extra bullet 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 16, Zhang Yi frowned slightly, and counted carefully again. The quantity seems wrong. He had counted carefully before, except for him and Uncle Yu's family, there were still 18 living people in the unit. If Su Hao is removed, there are still 17 talents left. But now counting and counting, there are only 16 people. Sure enough, there are still smart people. He sensed that I was going to kill him, so he didn't come over. Zhang Yi smiled slightly, then touched his chin and thought for a while. It seems, it's that who is here. Zhang Yi recalled that person, who seemed to be a salesman of an intermediary company. Really, why are you struggling? As if you can survive. Zhang Yi sighed, then raised the gun in his hand. He started searching floor by floor. Zhang Yi knew where that person lived, so the scope of the search was greatly narrowed. An hour later, Zhang Yi found him in a kitchen cabinet. Do you think you're smart? Zhang Yi asked sarcastically. Under his desperate eyes, Zhang Yi gave him a feeling of brain opening. So far, in the entire 25, there are still 5 survivors left. And the murderers who broke into Zhang Yi's room and ate him up had all been killed by him. Although Su Hao was an outsider, he died worse than Zhang Yi in his last life. Who made this rich second generation spend money on supplies in the group in such a high-profile manner? According to the root of the previous life, their home was the first to be breached. Zhang Yi's road to revenge is finally over. There were no obstacles in his heart, and he felt that the whole world was much clearer and more transparent. Even breathing has become extremely smooth, comfortable. Zhang Yi let out a long breath beautifully. And from now on, there will be no one in Yulu community who can threaten him. In the days to come, he wants to enjoy a good life with peace of mind. Of course, the prerequisite is that he and Su Hao first take down Wang Ximing's doomsday shelter, which claims to be H-proof. Then stay away from this place and completely let everyone lose his whereabouts. Zhang Yi stuck the assault rifle behind his back and returned home. Before he came to Uncle Yu's ward, he had already put on a sad expression. Uncle Yu, I have some bad news for you. Sister Z, she. Hey. Zhang Yi clenched his fists and sighed deeply. Uncle Yu already understood what happened, and asked incredulously, Zulimi, what's wrong? Zhang Yi said, those neighbors have actually been dissatisfied with us for a long time. They secretly colluded with people from other units and wanted to kill you and me. Then they robbed our supplies and my house. Although I killed Zhang Lei and Li Changbin, there are still traitors among the rest. They were worried that I would retaliate afterwards, so they acted early and gave Sister Z to, hey. Zhang Yi said with a sad expression on his face. Uncle Yu closed his eyes in pain, and then slammed hard on the bed. Bang! A loud noise. The corners of the bed made of steel were smashed and collapsed. There was a flash of light in Zhang Yi's eyes. It seems that he guessed right. Uncle Yu's ability is of strength type. That's nice, just enough to compliment him. And in the future, if you have any strength to work, you don't have to worry about no one being able to do it. Uncle Yu, don't worry. I didn't make those students feel better, I killed them all, and I avenged Big Sister Z. Uncle Yu slowly opened his eyes, the sockets were moist. He is a person who attaches great importance to feelings. Although he was with Zulimi at the beginning, he only wanted to show her body, but as the old saying goes, he would inevitably feel sad if he fell in love with each other for a long time. Those people are indeed damned. I knew their conduct was unreliable. I just never thought that you and I have put in so much effort for this building, and instead of being thanked by them, we will be hated by them instead. These people really deserve to die. Uncle Yu said bitterly. He didn't have any doubts about Zhang Yi's words. For one thing, during this month, he witnessed various ungrateful behaviors of his neighbors, and also saw Li Changbin and Zhang Lei attacking Zhang Yi. So Zhang Yi said that the neighbors have long colluded with outsiders and wanted to kill them, and this is true. Second, and most importantly, for a long time after Zulimi left, Zhang Yi stayed with him in the ward, so the possibility of Zhang Yi's attack was ruled out. Zhang Yi came over and said to Uncle Yu sincerely, Uncle Yu, I am also responsible for this matter. I didn't expect them to be so mad. Don't worry. I will definitely help you find another child-faced big breast skill in the future, good wife. Uncle Yu was silent for a moment. He said slowly, I like mature and plump ones. Chapter 145 Entrusting Orphans. Uncle Yu can figure it out. People who have experienced the end times are more transparent in thinking. After all, they are used to seeing life and death parting. What's more, he and Zulimi were originally halfway couples, and they didn't have much relationship foundation. Not to be overwhelmed with pain over her death. When Zhang Yi saw Uncle Yu's reaction, a relieved smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. This is easy to handle. I will definitely pick the one that satisfies you the most. While the two were talking, Zhou Qier walked over holding the crying baby. She looked helpless. Zhang Yi, Uncle Yu, she is crying again. What should I do? Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu looked at each other. Their eyes were bewildered with kids. They are an old bachelor and an old driver, and they don't have this experience. Probably, you're hungry. Zhang Yi's eyes looked at Zhou Qier, and his eyes slowly fell on the baby's feeding structure. It's round and full, so if you have children in the future, you won't be hungry. Zhou Qier blushed immediately, and said a little excitedly, what are you thinking? I haven't given birth yet, how can I have milk for her? Zhang Yi said, it's really not easy for us to take care of this child. We need to find an experienced person to take care of it. He glanced at Uncle Yu. Uncle Yu, shall we give this child away? When Zelimei was still there, Uncle Yu could take care of the child for Zelimei's sake. But Zelimei is gone. Uncle Yu will help her take care of the child? Isn't that a pure grievance? Uncle Yu is not cerebral palsy either, so he wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Just looking at the baby in the swaddle, he couldn't bear it. His expression was a bit tangled, but if this child is sent out, will he survive? Zhang Yi nodded and said affirmatively, don't worry, after this battle in the community, it will be difficult to have large-scale conflicts in the future. I will find a reliable family to send her there, and then provide some necessities for the baby. It will be no problem. Zhang Yi's words made Uncle Yu feel much more at ease. He nodded, hey, that's the only way to do it. Seeing that Uncle Yu nodded in agreement, Zhang Yi walked over and took the child from Zhou Qier's arms. She seemed to understand the fate she was going to face next, and she cried louder. I'm going to find you a good home. Looking at her pink and tender face, Zhang Yi said in a cold voice. I'm sorry, although you are innocent, but I really can't carry a burden. There are too many innocent people who died tragically in the world. If you want to blame, you can only blame the world. Zhang Yi knew that after sending this child out, the probability of her surviving was no higher than 1%. Not only he knows, but Uncle Yu also understands. But in life, sometimes you have to learn to pretend to be confused. As long as people can pretend to be confused, they will face a lot of trouble less. Escape is shameful, but useful. Just like Zhang Yi. He couldn't do anything to this child, but he didn't want to take care of her, so he could only throw her to others. As for whether this child can survive, it depends on God's opinion. Zhang Yi found a backpack from the room, stuffed 2 packs of diapers, 2 bags of milk powder and a bag of rice weighing 10 catties into it. Then he carried a backpack, hugged a crying child in one hand, and left the house with a gun in the other. 25 is very quiet now. The neighbors are all dead. And the world seems to have become quieter. Zhang Yi walked downstairs step by step, and then walked towards the 18 building step by step. The entire neighborhood was extremely quiet, and he killed most of the people in one battle, especially all the fighters. The remaining residents are not very harmful, at least for Zhang Yi. Some people looked at Zhang Yi quietly through the window, their eyes were full of horror. Zhang Yi, is he coming to kill us? People are terrified. Zhang Yi's goal is to be impartial, and it is the 18 building with a harmonious homeland as its survival slogan. This scared the residents of 18 to death. In their building, more than 60 people are still alive, and those who died were all died of freezing or complications. As an idealist, Li Jian has maintained his ideal until now. This is why Zhang Yi did not attack 18. Zhang Yi came to the door of 18, raised his gun and fired 2 shots into the sky. Li Jian, come out. After a while, Li Jian's short and thin body appeared in front of Zhang Yi's eyes. His dark circles were very heavy, and his face was sallow, as if he was about to die suddenly at any moment. From this, it can be seen how heavy the torment was for him that day and night. They were all afraid that Zhang Yi would come over and smoke them to death in the building like other buildings. Zhang Yi, I'm here. Li Jian plucked up the courage to stand opposite Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi glanced at him, and the middle-aged man's body didn't even tremble. No wonder, after experiencing so many things, Li Jian was probably numb to death. Aren't you afraid of me? Zhang Yi asked with a smile. Li Jian swallowed his saliva. I'm afraid. But it's useless to be afraid. And I don't think you came here today to kill us. He pointed to the swaddle in Zhang Yi's arms, and the baby could still be heard crying in the tightly wrapped swaddle. You came here by yourself, and you are holding a child. With your personality, you will not use this posture to kill people. Zhang Yi nodded. Yes, I told you that you are a smart person. I'm here to give you a child. You have the most living people in this building. Is there any mother who is still breastfeeding? A look of excitement flashed in Li Jian's eyes, because he saw a chance to live from Zhang Yi's words. Yes, yes, yes. Do you want to find a nanny for the child? Li Jian nodded his head, and quickly answered in the affirmative. Zhang Yi nodded. Oh, that's just right. This child will be raised by you in the future. As a condition, I don't have to kill you. As Zhang Yi said, he handed over the child in his hand. Li Jian hastily held the baby in his hands. He looked down at the baby, expressing his gratitude to her beyond words, because she saved the lives of the entire building. Zhang Yi also threw the backpack behind his back on the ground. Here are diapers and milk powder for her, and a bag of rice. Of course, I know that you may not give her this milk powder. You can take care of her as you like, and I don't care, as long as she lives. I don't blame you if you really can't feed it, but don't kill it on purpose. The baby's meat is fat and tender, so keep your mouths in the building. It's a child I sent over anyway, so I should always give me some face, right? Seeing the heavy backpack on the ground, Li Jian nodded quickly when he heard Zhang Yi's blatantly threatening words. Don't worry, we will take good care of this child. We will never let anything happen to her. Chapter 146 Hope. Li Jian turned his head and called a woman's name several times. Liu Mei, Liu Mei. Come down. Soon, a long-haired woman ran over. Li Jian solemnly handed the child to her. From now on, this child will be handed over to you to raise. You will raise her as your dead daughter, and you can't let her have any mistakes. She is our life, understand? The woman named Liu Mei had just lost her daughter a while ago. Looking at the baby girl in front of her, she hugged her excitedly and refused to let go. A sloppy smile appeared on the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth. It seems that I can rest assured, right? Li Jian nodded again and again. Yes, you can rest assured. Zhang Yi didn't say anything anymore. If he can do this step, he is worthy of the baby girl, and Zhang Yi has no energy to care about her life or death. He glanced at the skinny Li Jian, then raised his head to look at the 18 building in front of him. Suddenly, he asked, how many people are still alive in your building? Li Jian replied cautiously, there are still 66 people. 66? Zhang Yi suddenly smiled happily. This number is really auspicious. It seems that I will have good luck in the near future. Li Jian could only smile apologetically. Zhang Yi asked again, next, how are you going to survive? I won't provide you with any food. Li Jian opened his mouth, hesitated for a long time before saying, there will be a solution. We have all lived to this day, and we have encountered many difficult things. As long as people are alive, there will be hope. There is no limit to the road, I have always believed. Zhang Yi gave a smirk with a hey, and leaned next to Li Jian and said temptingly, the food problem is also easy to solve. See those buildings that I burned down. The rations inside are enough for you to eat for a long time. Li Jian's face changed. He shook his head resolutely. No, we won't go that far. Once we have a wrong start, the end that awaits us will be destruction after all. Instead of doing that, it's better to die while retaining the dignity of being a human being. At least our hearts will be clear and magnanimous. Zhang Yi looked at Li Jian in surprise. He admitted that he was a little shocked by the man in front of him. It has come to such a difficult moment, is there anyone who can maintain the same heart? There should be some. It's just that Zhang Yi didn't expect that such a person would appear by his side. If one has not experienced such a tragic catastrophe, it is difficult to really see a person clearly. Zhang Yi smiled slightly, and said to Li Jian, to be honest, I actually admire you. Li Jian smiled with difficulty, thank you, but I admire you even more. Because you have the ability to keep yourself and the people around you alive, and you can still live well even when the end comes. In this regard, I am far behind you. Having said that, Li Jian summoned up his courage and made another attempt. Zhang Yi, I have a request. Stop. Zhang Yi stretched out his hand to stop him from continuing. I know what you want to say, but you don't need to say any more. I won't help you. I don't have that leisure time. Li Jian asked puzzledly, why? You could provide 300 servings of food before, but now the entire community has almost the same number of living people. With your ability, you can manage the entire community well and lead everyone to survive. Zhang Yi sneered. All living beings suffer, and I am not a Buddha, so I cannot save so many people. Even if I save them, they may not be grateful to me. I am very clear about the reason why Zhang Yi is kind and Michao is fighting. In troubled times, it's not easy to take good care of yourself. I don't have such lofty ambitions and a big heart. I just want to live well by myself." The last hope was also shattered, and Li Jian's face was a little gloomy. Although what he said was very good, and he talked about the endless road, but judging from the current situation, it is indeed difficult for them to survive for a long time. Zhang Yi looked at him, and suddenly said, "As a human being, you have to rely on yourself in everything. And you, to some extent, have touched me. Make me believe that there is still the glory of humanity in the last days. So don't say I won't give you a chance." Zhang Yi pretended to put his hand into his wide pocket, and after a while of fiddling, he even took out a bag of corn seeds. He threw the corn seeds on the ground and continued to dig into his pockets. After a while, wheat, rice, soybeans, potatoes, sweet potatoes, seeds and rhizomes of more than a dozen crops appeared in front of Li Jian's eyes. "This is my chance for you. You can try to grow food to support yourself. Of course, you can also eat it. Whatever you do, I can only help you so far." Zhang Yi didn't know how to farm, so he gave Li Jian a lot of seeds and roots. To him, it's like dropping 2 fry into a fish pond and waiting a few years to harvest the shoal. Waiting is a miracle. If Li Jian and the others can really survive, it means that God will really take care of these people who keep their hearts. If they die, so be it. After finishing these, Zhang Yi turned around gracefully, waved his hands, and left 18 without hesitation. Li Jian was dumbfounded on the spot. Looking at the grain seeds and roots all over the place, he was at a loss. Can these things be grown at -60 or 70 degrees? At this time, a white-haired old man suddenly ran out of the corridor. He hurriedly picked up the seeds and roots from the ground, and stuffed them into his arms regardless of the cold. "Put these seeds away quickly, and we won't have to worry about eating them when they are planted." Li Jian's eyes lit up when he saw the old man. This retired old professor, who specialized in crop research in the agricultural college, is 75 years old this year. That is, in 18, his old arms and legs can live until now. "Old gent, can you grow these grains? Can you grow them in such a cold day?" Mr. Jess said tremblingly. "If there is a chance, there must be a chance. We have to try, no matter how slim the hope is, but if we succeed, we will survive." Li Jian suddenly realized, and then hurriedly accompanied him, stuffing these precious seeds and roots into his clothes to keep warm. After finishing these, Zhang Yi returned home. At this moment, he felt extremely relaxed. It's finally over, the grievances and resentments in the community. As long as the next thing is done, he can hold the beautiful Zhokir in his arms and give birth to 8 out of 10 babies. Zhokir had just finished changing Uncle Yu's medicine, and walked out of the room while taking off his mask. Seeing Zhang Yi lying lazily on the sofa, she asked, "Are you done with your work?" Zhang Yi nodded. "I'm a little hungry. Let's cook." "Okay, what do you want for lunch today?" Zhokir walked to the kitchen and prepared to cook while changing into her apron. Zhang Yi walked into the kitchen with a smile, reached out and hugged her from behind. "Want, eat, you. Ah. What are you doing? Uncle Yu is still next door." "It's okay, the sound insulation at home is very good. He can't hear it. I still have to cook, can't you wait?" "You are busy with your work, I am busy with mine, don't delay." Chapter 147. Su Hao's face. That night, Zhang Yijin worked very late. The problem in the community was finally resolved, and he felt extremely relaxed. He hadn't let go before, but this time he wasn't polite at all. And Zhokir also accumulated desires for a long time, and they were completely released on this night. However, there are also gaps between them. Zhang Yi's energy and physical strength are relatively strong, and he wakes up the next morning still vigorously. But Zhokir was so exhausted that she couldn't even get out of bed to cook. Zhang Yi was in a good mood, and took out some food from the different space to eat. Next, it depends on how Su Hao's contact goes. When his news came, Zhang Yi felt that there was indeed a chance to make a move, so he would follow him to have a look. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry, but Su Hao was in a hurry. After being given an injection by Zhang Yi yesterday, he didn't sleep well all night and felt that he was going to die soon. He sent a message to Zhang Yi in the morning. "Brother Zhang, I have already communicated with that side. When shall we go there?" Zhang Yi smiled slightly, and quickly typed back, "Come to my house and have a chat." Soon, Su Hao came to Zhang Yi's house. Zhang Yi opened the door and let him into the room. After Su Hao entered the room, his expression was the same astonishment and surprise as that of Jokir and Zulimini. It looked like a beggar had entered a paradise full of gold, silver and jewels, with a smirk hanging on the corner of his mouth, as if he was in a daze. "It's so warm here, is this heaven?" Su Hao said foolishly. Zhang Yi gave him a white look. "This is my home." When Su Hao came back to his senses, he suddenly felt unbearably hot. After all, he was wrapped in 6 or 7 layers of clothes, and the temperature in Zhang Yi's house was 26 degrees, which made him feel like a deep furnace. He hurriedly took off the layers of down jacket and cotton coat on his body, and then came to Zhang Yi in a little embarrassment. "Brother Zhang, I have made an agreement with Wang Ximing. I will pretend to cooperate with him and take you there. As soon as he opens the door, we will find a chance to kill him." Su Hao couldn't wait. Zhang Yi sat on the sofa and raised Erlang's legs, pointed to the opposite sofa and said, "Sit. Don't worry, let's talk slowly." Su Hao took a look at Zhang Yi's sofa. It was a high-end sofa, as white as a cloud. However, there seemed to be some strange stains on the sofa, as if they were left by some kind of liquid. Su Hao didn't dare to sit on the sofa. He hadn't showered for a month, for fear of getting dirty by Zhang Yi. So he sat on the carpet. Even so, he felt extremely satisfied. 1 month, a whole month. He finally felt what temperature is. Zhang Yi was sitting, so his angle was just looking down at Su Hao. This once mighty rich second generation is now as humble as a bereaved dog. Oh, how can it be said to be similar? He is clearly a homeless dog. Su Hao looked up at Zhang Yi flatteringly. "Brother Zhang, let me tell you how I talked with him." Zhang Yi smiled slightly, and stretched out his hand towards Su Hao. "Don't bother, I can just see it myself." Su Hao's face froze. What? You see for yourself? Give me the phone. Let me see the chat history of the two of you. Zhang Yi's smile was very bright, but in Su Hao's eyes, it was extremely terrifying. There are some things in the chat records between him and Wang Ximing that Zhang Yi cannot see. Just like he belittled Wang Ximing in front of Zhang Yi, he couldn't let Wang Ximing know that it was a truth. "Quick, give me your phone. You won't have anything to hide from me, will you?" Zhang Yi's squinted eyes showed a crack, killing intent flashed across. No. But. Su Hao's forehead was dripping with cold sweat, his eyes wandered, and his right hand subconsciously covered his pocket. Zhang Yi didn't bother to talk nonsense with him, so he took out a black pistol from his pocket and aimed it at his forehead. "Brother, it's not easy to talk to you, is it?" Su Hao hurriedly begged for mercy. "Brother Zhang, don't shoot. I said some bad things about you to Wang Ximing. But it was just to confuse him. That's not what I really want to say." Zhang Yi became a little impatient, and said coldly, "Give it to me." Su Hao didn't dare to talk nonsense anymore. He took out the phone tremblingly, unlocked it and handed it to Zhang Yi. No power," Su Hao whispered, trying to make the last resistance. Zhang Yi took it over and took a look, and sure enough the battery slot had bottomed out. After all, the power supply for ordinary residents is only about 1 hour a day. He and Wang Ximing must have talked for a long time, so it's not surprising that the battery is so low. Zhang Yi took out a power bank from under the coffee table and recharged it for him. Su Hao's face was pale, and his body almost shrank to the floor, a bit like a deflated balloon. Zhang Yi opened the chat history between him and Wang Ximing, browsing forward all the way. "Oh, the two of you were in contact half a month ago." Zhang Yi smiled. Su Hao didn't dare to say a word. Zhang Yi quickly looked down. The corner of his mouth slowly curled into a contemptuous sneer. No wonder Su Hao didn't dare to let him read the chat records. The chat history of the past half-month is very rich in content. In the beginning, Su Hao planned to ask Wang Ximing to help solve Zhang Yi, and then seize Zhang Yi's safe house and supplies. At that time, Zhang Yi's evaluation was, "That damn dog is so arrogant because he has a gun in his hand. Why does he live in such a nice house?" Haha. Zhang Yi sneered, but Su Hao was quite frightened. Further back, it was probably the time period when Zhang Yi subdued the people in the entire building, and then beat the Cheyenne gang and the Wild Wolf gang. Su Hao's evaluation of Zhang Yi became again, "This kid is ruthless enough, he killed dozens of people in one go. It's not easy to deal with." And Zhang Yi killed almost all the building leaders in one night, and after Ho Gong destroyed 12 buildings, Su Hao's evaluation became, "Zhang Yi is a powerful character, and he is indeed very capable. Brother Ming, I can't handle him, but it will be no problem for the two of us to join forces. In the chat records, he used a lot of insulting words to Zhang Yi, especially the early conversations were full of contempt. And just as Zhang Yi thought, Su Hao planned to lure him to the past at the beginning and let Wang Ximing use the trap to kill him. Zhang Yi looked at Su Hao with a sneer, and shook his phone. How to explain? Su Hao swallowed his saliva with difficulty, and hurriedly explained, Brother Zhang, listen to me. I said that to confuse him and make him think that I am with him. Only in this way can we deceive he. He raised his right hand and swore to the lamp, if I, Su Hao, have any bad intentions for Brother Zhang, I will die. Zhang Yi sneered disdainfully, it's useless to make such an oath now. You'd better be realistic. Chapter 148. After reading Su Hao's chat records, Zhang Yi actually didn't have much feeling in his heart. Because of those contents, he had already guessed 7 or 8. He wouldn't think that he really had such great charisma that a speculator like Su Hao would follow him wholeheartedly. It is normal for Su Hao to speculate between him and Wang Ximing, and choose the one who is most beneficial to him. Su Hao knelt in front of Zhang Yi anxiously and explained his behavior. Brother Zhang, you've given me an injection, can I still harm you? If something happens to you, I won't survive. That's right, I said some bad things about you before. But at least I didn't do anything to harm you. Now I am completely on your side. Zhang Yi didn't speak, but touched his chin and began to think. Through the chat records between Su Hao and Wang Ximing, he also got other important information. First, Su Hao leaked information about his weapons to Wang Ximing, only including the possession of a pistol. Su Hao didn't tell Wang Ximing about Zhang Yi's strength later on. Probably from that time on, Su Hao already had the idea of betraying Wang Ximing and turning to Zhang Yi. Therefore, Wang Ximing did not know that Zhang Yi had a large amount of military equipment such as powerful assault rifles, sniper rifles and grenades in his hands. Second, Wang Ximing focused on the large amount of supplies and snowmobiles in Zhang Yi's hands. In Su Hao's statement to Wang Ximing, he described Zhang Yi's safe house as a warehouse with a mountain of supplies that could last for a year or two. It can be seen from the conversation that Wang Ximing is very moved. It can be seen from this that Wang Ximing's shelter does not have much supplies. After all, the shelter was built 10 years ago. Even though there was a large amount of food stored in it, Wang Ximing, who lost interest later, probably cleaned them up. After some brainstorming, Zhang Yi had some basic ideas in his mind. He threw the phone on the table and said lightly, then tell me about the specific situation of that shelter. Especially things like weapons and defenses. Not a word less. Seeing this, Su Hao breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Yi's attitude just now almost frightened him to collapse. He didn't dare to hide anything, and told all the news about the shelter that he knew. After the shelter was built, Wang Ximing once invited a large number of people from his circle to visit. He is a very high-profile person, and he can't wait for people all over the world to worship him. Therefore, he also regards that shelter as a beloved high-end toy, and introduced it to everyone in great detail. I remember that the internal structure is divided into 5 floors and 2 floors above the ground. It looks similar to an ordinary villa. On the 3rd basement floor, there are stadiums, waterbed rooms, entertainment rooms and other places specially used to have fun with girls, as well as warehouses and control rooms. That's about it. Zhang Yi said lightly, tell me more about the defense facilities. Su Hao recalled it for a while, and said slowly, the shelter was built to prevent H attacks. It is said that the materials of spaceships were used. Unless the H-bombs are locked and directed, there is almost no way to break through. But I guess, if it is a large-scale army with a large armed force, it is still possible to break the shell through a long battle. As for defense equipment, you know, the domestic control over guns and ammunition is extremely strict. Although Wang Ximing has the ability to get it, with his status, there is no need to take risks for a toy. So there are no heavy weapons in the shelter. I remember that he had collected 2 golden sand eagles before, which are considered the strongest firepower. But there were tear gas and hypnotic gas spray devices inside the house. There is also the entrance of the channel, which is equipped with a high-temperature flamethrower. Su Hao mentioned this, and looked at Zhang Yi cautiously. This is the most dangerous. When Wang Ximing gave us a demonstration before, he threw a chicken in. It turned out to be cooked in a second. It is said that the moment it is activated, it will turn the channel into a giant oven, and the temperature can reach 1,800 degrees Celsius in an instant. Let's not talk about people, even steel can melt. When Su Hao spoke, Zhang Yi listened very carefully, not missing a single word. After listening, he started drawing in his brain, drawing a rough outline of the shape of the shelter. When Zhang Yi was thinking, Su Hao didn't dare to say a word, so he knelt on the ground obediently and waited for Zhang Yi to speak. Zhang Yi thought for a while, then took out a pen and paper from under the coffee table, and began to write and draw. First of all, he must consider his own safety. No matter how good and attractive Wang Ximing's shelter is, if the danger exceeds 3%, Zhang Yi will temporarily give up the plan. After all, he is now living in a safe house, so there will be no risk in the short term, and his quality of life is decent. But if the risk is less than 3%, Zhang Yi has the idea of giving it a try. Because he has a lot of supplies and snowmobiles in his hands, it must have attracted the attention of people around the community. People in the community must have spread the news. So stay here, sooner or later trouble will come. And, who could say no to a world-class sanctuary worth $10 billion? Wang Ximing's target is my snowmobile and the supplies in my hands. If he can't get it, it won't help if he kills me. After all, I have no enmity with him. Zhang Yi tapped on the notebook, and began to talk to himself. So when the time comes, I put the snowmobile away. The worst thing I can do is get caught, but he won't kill me. Because it doesn't matter to him whether I live or die. After talking to himself, Zhang Yi looked at Su Hao in front of him. Su Hao couldn't help but shivered. Zhang Yi laughed. And the biggest threat to that shelter actually comes from the traps in the entrance passage. Hypnosis gas and tear gas are easy to deal with. I have a police gas mask. As for the high-temperature flame, since he wants to keep me for interrogation, he won't use it. Zhang Yi repeated it several times in his mind, and felt that there was no loophole in his way of thinking. He nodded and said to Su Hao, "So your plan is to pretend that you are cooperating with Wang Ximing and trick me. At that time, Wang Ximing will not kill me, but attack me with hypnotic gas and tear gas. Catch me again. When he opens the door, we should work together to kill him. Is that what you mean?" Su Hao nodded quickly. "Yes, that's what I meant. After we passed, you pretended to be caught. Then I took the opportunity to stab him and kill him." A gleam of joy flashed in Su Hao's eyes. Zhang Yi suddenly thought that Su Hao didn't know that he had a gas mask. So in Su Hao's hypothesis, he used Zhang Yi as a bait, then entered the shelter, and let him kill Wang Ximing himself. This trick is often used by Liangshan heroes in water margin, which is called false surrender. The corners of Zhang Yi's mouth raised slightly. Su Hao didn't know that Zhang Yi had a gas mask. It is imperative to be defensive, so don't let him know about it. Chapter 149 Ability Experiment. Su Hao looked at Zhang Yi, and said with sincere eyes, "Brother Zhang, my life is in your hands now, are you still afraid that I will betray you? If something happens to you, I will die too." Zhang Yi felt that this plan was indeed feasible. Su Hao understood that Zhang Yi would use him as a shield, and Su Hao thought he had been poisoned, so it was impossible for him to deceive Zhang Yi. And once he successfully entered the shelter, Wang Ximing's 2 golden sand eagles would not be able to defeat Zhang Yi. The success rate is extremely high, at least over 95%. Zhang Yi gave an evaluation in his heart. However, there will be a little bit of uneasiness after all. His way of being a man is a dog. He is good at defense, but offense is not his forte. It was the first time to take the initiative to attack a super shelter, and it would be a lie to say that I was not disturbed. Flame, gas, it would be great if there was a way to completely solve this problem. Zhang Yi sighed in his heart. The initiative is not in his own hands, so he can't feel at ease. Suddenly, a light flashed in Zhang Yi's mind. No, wait a minute. Flame, gas, why do I feel like I've forgotten something? Zhang Yi wanted to catch that sliver of inspiration. He instinctively sensed that it was important, that there was something else he could use. I got it. After Zhang Yi thought hard for a while, he finally realized what it was. His power space. For a long time, Zhang Yi only regarded the ability space as an ability to store objects, and never considered applying it to the combat level. However, the different space can collect objects, and the time inside it is almost absolutely static. If this function can be utilized, can it become a very powerful combat ability? Zhang Yi is a little excited. If he can really tap the potential of his abilities, the gains will undoubtedly be unimaginable. Zhang Yi immediately stood up impatiently. Su Hao, who was kneeling on the ground, was still eagerly waiting for Zhang Yi's reply. Zhang Yi waved his hand at him and said, "You go back and wait for my news, and I will give you an answer in a few days." Su Hao was terrified, "But brother Zhang, even if I can wait, the poison in my body can't wait." Zhang Yi gave him a white look. "What are you afraid of? I said that it will take 7 days for the poison to develop. I will give you an answer in as long as 3 days, or as short as 1 or 2 days. You can wait with peace of mind." Su Hao's hair was numb. Who knew how uncomfortable he felt after that injection? Now he still feels that his body has become weak. Su Hao wanted to say something else, but Zhang Yi's sharp eyes made him flinch. Then, "I'll go back and wait for your reply. You must contact me." Su Hao left Zhang Yi with a bitter face. But Zhang Yi hurried back to the room while the inspiration was still there, and continued to think about how to develop his abilities. In fact, for the different space, Zhang Yi has always used it to store objects. Regarding its ability, Zhang Yi doesn't have a thorough understanding of it, he just knows a few generalities, which is enough. For example, different spaces can accommodate independently existing objects. And once there is a strong external force, it is difficult to collect. For example, a certain house in a building. Or dig a patch of snow out of the ground. These practices are very difficult. As for how it acts on living organisms, Zhang Yi has only done experiments with one fish. He doesn't know how it works on people. When I have time in the future, I must spend energy to develop my abilities. Maybe there are other fields waiting for me to develop besides different spaces and precision shooting. However, now I have to consider how to use my ability to block the attack of Wang Ximing's shelter. Zhang Yi touched his chin with a serious face. Gas, high temperature sprays flames. When they spew out from the trap, they are actively attacking me, so there will be no resistance to collecting them. In theory, it is completely possible. Zhang Yi's eyes became brighter and brighter, and his mind slowly opened the door to a brand new field. The interior of my different space is in a state of absolute stillness, or close to absolute stillness. Then, while keeping the kinetic energy constant, as long as I change the direction, the vector will change. I can even return the object that attacked me back the same way. Zhang Yi excitedly paced back and forth in the room, his eyes sparkling with excitement. After thinking for a while, he left the room and went to an empty room downstairs. Then he started the fire, testing it. After the flame burned, Zhang Yi stretched out his right hand towards the flame, spread his 5 fingers, and used his ability to collect it in a different space. Unsurprisingly, the process went very smoothly. Because Zhang Yi used the rules that already existed in the different space. It's just that in the past, he was used to fighting with hot weapons, and he didn't pay attention to the development of abilities. After collecting the flame, Zhang Yi immediately opened an exit from the direction of the flame in the different space, but he was facing the original location of collecting the flame in the outer space call. The flame spewed out with a crack. From the outside, it seems that Zhang Yi has cast some kind of magic and bounced back the collected flames. Isn't this a full counterattack? Zhang Yi widened his eyes and laughed out loud in surprise. Ha, I understand. Different spaces can still be used like this. This is the magical skill of defense. At this time, Zhang Yi was like a child who discovered a new toy. A man is a teenager until his death, who has never had a dream of becoming a native of the motherland in his heart. Excited, Zhang Yi clenched his fists, his eyes became extremely bright under the light of the fire. Next, I need to master the skill proficiently. Then any long-range attacks, no, even short-range attacks will be ineffective against me. However, Zhang Yi squeezed his chin, if you use this ability on people, what effect will it have? Zhang Yi's alien space only let a living creature go once, and that was a pomfret in the fish tank. But it died the next day. Zhang Yi didn't think much about it at first, but felt that it was a pity that he couldn't build a shelter inside. But now considering the level of combat, then have to use living people to conduct experiments. Zhang Yi folded his arms, his eyes gradually became indifferent. Isn't it simple? That night, Zhang Yi went to a unit building and asked them to hand over a person. He took the man to an empty room and handed him a knife rolled out of A4 paper. A fire was lit in the middle of the house, and Zhang Yi's tall figure was full of oppression under the reflection of the fire. And that poor guy was holding that fake knife, his body trembling in fear. Zhang Yi looked at him, smiled and waved. Come and attack me. As long as you can hit me, I will reward you with a piece of bread. Chapter 150 The Power of Spatial Ability. The man was still a little scared when he heard what Zhang Yi said. But now he can't run away, he can only follow Zhang Yi's order. So he waved the fake knife in his hand and slashed at Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi's expression was extremely focused, and when he rushed over, a white light flashed in his right eye. After a month of use, he has formed an instinct to open and close the different space. In an instant, an invisible and intangible door to another space appeared in the space in front of him. The man rushed over with a fake knife and slashed at Zhang Yi's shoulder with his right hand. But the next moment, something horrifying happened to him. His arm disappeared in front of Zhang Yi out of thin air, as if he had entered a world that he couldn't see with naked eyes. Frightened, he tried his best to stop his advancing figure. Zhang Yi grabbed his arm at the right time, and ruthlessly pulled him into his different space. That person got into a different space. Zhang Yi's perspective instantly switched to a different space, and he carefully observed the person he had taken in. The man was already in a state of stillness, motionless. Even Zhang Yi tested his breathing and heartbeat without the slightest response. Zhang Yi frowned slightly. He didn't know if this person died after entering the space, or if the time of the body stopped and he would come back to life when he left the space. So he quickly released that person from the space. As soon as he came out, that person's face turned pale, his body seemed to collapse, and he fell to the ground gasping for breath. Oh? It seems that it still has an effect on living organisms. If it takes a long time, it will really die. Zhang Yi nodded, and got another key piece of information. How did you feel just now? Zhang Yi asked. The man's face was like gold paper, and he said weakly, I feel like I have entered a vast white world. There are many materials piled up in mountains. I feel like I've been there for a century. That possibility is terrible. Maybe I'm hallucinating. Zhang Yi's pupils shrank. It turns out that although the body of the person who entered the different space is in a static state, the consciousness still exists. In other words, the time in the different space is not absolutely static, probably because the flow of time is infinitely slower than the outside world. In other words, if a person enters it, the body cannot move, but the consciousness seems to have passed countless times in a static world. That feeling must be extremely painful, and even make people want to die. In other words, if a living body stays in a different space for too long, will it die from a mental breakdown? That's right, interesting. Zhang Yi has a little more understanding of different spaces. He waved at the man. You, stand up. The man stood up tremblingly. Zhang Yi opened the different space and tried to bring him into the different space. But this time, it felt extremely strenuous, as if moving a tall building. Is there no effect on large organisms? Or? Zhang Yi frowned. He suddenly approached the man, and then drew a dagger from his leg. Before that person could react, a white knife flashed, and his 2 fingers were cut off. What? The man fell to the ground in pain, clutching his wound and screaming. Zhang Yi's face remained unchanged, and he began to try to collect a broken finger. This time it succeeded without hindrance. Living people can't, but broken fingers can. What's the reason for this? Zhang Yi returned the finger to him, and he became more curious about his own different space. But now, he has collected a lot of useful information. Looking at the man lying on the ground, moaning in pain, Zhang Yi thought for a while, took out a plate of roast chicken from a different space, and slowly placed it in front of him. Eat it, this is your compensation. Then he was given another roll of gauze to bind himself. The man was about to pass out from the pain, but the steaming chicken in front of him still made his eyes glow. He was so hungry that he ate a leather sofa at home. And what was in front of him was roast chicken. He didn't even care about the pain in his fingers, and gnawed on the roast chicken while weeping. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry, and sat by the fire, using a table leg to stir the flames. After he finished eating the roast chicken, Zhang Yi said, let's continue. This time, you hit me with something. Instead of resenting Zhang Yi, that person had eyes full of gratitude. He nodded quickly, simply wrapped the wound with gauze, and continued to cooperate with Zhang Yi to carry out the experiment. A few hours later, Zhang Yi obtained the experimental data he wanted, and had a greater understanding of the capabilities of different dimensions. First, there should be restrictions on collecting materials, but what we know so far is that it is not allowed to collect objects with strong external forces, and it is invalid for living people. Second, when used, it can open a door that connects the present world and the different space. The way of active attack has not been thought of for the time being, but the attack in physical form can be diverted, and then counterattacked by adjusting the vector direction. Knowing these 2 points is equivalent to opening a huge treasure for Zhang Yi. Next, I know how to deal with Wang Ximing's shelter. The last trace of worry in Zhang Yi's heart was completely dispelled. He looked at the man in front of him who helped him with the experiment, and said sincerely, "Thank you for your help." Before the man could answer, Zhang Yi's dagger passed his throat like a gust of wind. PFFT. Blood spattered, and he fell to the ground. Before he died, fear flickered in his eyes, but relief followed. Even when he died, there was a smile on the corner of his mouth. Finally free from this cruel world. At the very least, he had a delicious meal of roast chicken when he died. For the next 2 days, Zhang Yi would pick someone to come and accompany him in the experiment every day. It is also to practice his proficiency in new skills. It is important to ensure that you can use your skills to the extent that you can use your fingers. Only in this way can you ensure your own safety in the next action. And for everyone who practiced with him, he would let the other party have a full meal, and then kill them. Because his ability is his biggest hole card, it must not be leaked to the outside world. In this way, 3 days passed quickly. Zhang Yi has fully grasped the use of skills, so he called Su Hao and told him, "We can go." Su Hao has gone through many vicissitudes in the past few days. He is obviously not poisoned, but his face is blue, his lips are purple, and his eyes are dark circles. This is his strong self-suggestion leading to symptoms of poisoning in the body. "Brother Zhang, I feel like I'm going to die." Zhang Yi smiled secretly. In the past few days, he has been providing food to Su Hao. And it is reasonable that Su Hao's life is easier than before. After pretending to think about it, he went back to retrieve a tube of normal saline, and said to Su Hao, "I can give you an antidote first, which can temporarily relieve your symptoms." As if seeing hope, Su Hao raised his sleeves and exposed his arms. "Give me a shot, give me a shot." Zhang Yi picked up the needle, slowly injected Su Hao with normal saline, and then said calmly, "This can relieve your symptoms, but if it lasts for 5 days at most, you will still die from the poison. So you'd better hope this operation succeeds. Otherwise, there's nothing good for either of us." After Su Hao took a shot of normal saline, he suddenly felt a strange energy in his body, and he became more energetic. "Brother Zhang, don't worry, Su Hao, will not make fun of my own life. This time, I'm following you with all my heart." End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.